How's your name pronounced? Is it Kabu?
Yeah, this is Kabu.
Okay,
It's
welcome.
Kabu. It's Kabu. I don't know how to have. Do I mute? Do I mute? YouTube?
You're fine. We can hear you fine, and there's no echo.
I'm hearing two
Oh, are
sounds.
you?
Yeah,
Yes. Well, if you're hearing two sounds, then I would close out the YouTube video that you were watching.
yeah, I did. Yeah, it's Kabu.
Okay, Kabu. What
Hmm.
ethnicity is that from?
I'm Congolese.
Oh yeah. Okay. What are you from? Kinshasa.
Yes, I was born in
Okay,
Kinshasa.
that's what's up. Okay, talk to me. What's on your mind?
Well, I mean, they just pressed me to get online. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a
Uh,
feminist. I sound like a feminist, but I'm not. I used
oh.
to be. So
Oh, you recovered. So
yes,
the
yes.
whites got you. The
So
liberal white women got you, huh?
yeah, I mean, I say it as the devil lied to me.
Hmm. So if you're Congolese, mother and father, does this mean you weren't raised in Congo at all?
I wasn't raised in Congo. I was raised in South Africa, so I'm South African too.
Oh, no, that's the worst. The South Africans are animals. They're worse. They're the worst. No, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you still in South Africa, or you made it over to the United States?
I made it over here. I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Of
Okay, you have a
course she
chance
is.
now. You have a chance. That's good. No, the
Okay.
South Africans are
Of course she in America.
they're pretty pathetic, and it hurts my heart because it's such beautiful, gorgeous black women in South Africa.
Yeah.
But the South Africans are under the most liberal regime. The white South Africans dominate culture, and they're woefully liberal over there. So the South
Okay.
Africans are extraordinarily lost. Very sick black people. I've never met sicker black people in the world. I'd say like the number one worst black people on earth, South Africans. Then the number two worst black people on earth, probably Nigerians, and the number three worst black people on earth, probably black Americans. I think I'm gonna go with maybe Haitians, and then maybe number four black Americans in that order. They're the worst. But also when you go to the best, the black Americans are also at the top of that list. So they're the best and the worst. But anyways,
Me personally, I don't think none of those people black. So I would say the best black people and the worst black people are black Americans because I don't consider any of those other people black. But that's just my own personal opinion.
so you have a wild background. You've traversed continents and you've sampled all of the ideologies of the liberal West. Now, what makes you think that you have now rid yourself of this feminism?
I haven't really rid myself. It's hard to get, to get rid of. It's been part of me for such a long time. You think you've gotten rid of an ideology until it's put to the test. So every now and again, you'd see a little bit of that feminism. I am trying to get rid of it. It's hard though, for sure. Especially if you're living in this country. It's so liberal and women.
So she's a diet feminist. Is that what she's saying? I'm a feminist, but like it only comes out sometimes. What? That's like say like I ain't gay, but I mean not. Sometimes I just be sucking dicks sometimes. Like, huh?
We're taking, we're treated so well here. It's hard not to feel yourself a little bit.
Oh, I agree with you on that one. Someone writes, "We know what you said in the comments. Don't duck this ism." What did you say in the
This is why I love comments, specifically my chat. I love my YouTube chat because not only do y'all keep me on point, but when I do have people come up here, y'all always making sure that y'all be on their ass too. Y'all don't be playing. Y'all be defending me too. And my YouTube chat, y'all don't be playing about me. I love y'all.
comments, young lady?
I didn't say anyone taking care of us. I'm not saying everybody, but to the point that females felt the need to be liberated.
You're talking about white women, though.
Either way, I mean, I say
Like,
that black
is
women were
the
in that suffrage as well,
black women,
even though
but
we were
black women have
silent.
had different experiences. Even if you talk about, say, black American women versus South African women or Congolese women, you have radically different experiences. So I would say a black American woman versus a Congolese woman have different experiences. And then certainly those two versus a white American woman have radically different experiences. And so it's really a brainwash that makes you think that you're similar to a group that you're completely different than. For example, if you just say black women broadly, your data is just way different than white women. For example,
I just realized something about Marquett. He's not gonna like this, but and I rock with you, Marquett. So don't ever think I'm trying to come at you. I rock with you, but this nigga shaved his beard and this nigga shaved his mustache. This nigga has absolutely zero facial hair outside of his eyebrows. I just wanted to call that out. I didn't even notice that, and I've said this before. I'll say it again. Never trust a nigga who has absolutely no facial hair. This nigga has no beard and no mustache. Why would you do that? It's just a little weird to me. That's all. I'm just saying it's a little weird to me. Now, I don't care what you do. I'm not a homosexual, so I mean, I'm just talking about the look in and of itself. It's like, why would you shave your beard and your mustache where you have absolutely no facial hair other than your eyebrows and your eyelashes? It's just a little weird to me, but hey, let's keep going. Somebody said that's called a grown man face. I've never ever seen a grown man completely shave his entire face. Let's just watch the video. If you say so.
You guys, your rate of being never married, much higher than white women. Your rate of aborting children, much higher than white women. So,
Well, let me go back. Oh, not the sound. Come on, man. Not the sound.
so you guys, your rate of being never married, much higher than white women. Your rate of aborting children, much higher than white women. So your income lower than white women. It's like all of your metrics are different, but they're disadvantageous for you guys. So it's like, why would you identify with a woman who doesn't have any practical similarities?
So I'm speaking in the sense that, like, for example, Black Americans and Africans are different. We don't abort our kids. Our abortion is nowhere near the same rates. Our marriage rates are way higher than Black Americans. So definitely there are differences there.
Well, let's talk.
Okay, so first off, to say that when you bring up a point to say that Black American women compared to African women, you notice how African women is a group is the entire continent. But it's funny how they do this. They love to do this thing where they bring up us with Black Americans and they compare Black Americans to Africans. So you compare an entire group of billions of people, usually, which Africa has like 1.8 billion, almost 2 billion people. Y'all bring up this entire point to compare billions of people comparative to only 45 million people in America plus. So it's really funny how y'all have to use this entire broad of a population that is an entire continent and compare that to a small subset of Black people here in America. It's just very funny how that operates. Not only that, while that might be true, it's not true because of this because y'all are just more morally sound. Because if we was to talk about paternity fraud, the highest paternity fraud is in Jamaica and Nigeria, right? So let's just not even let's not forget that point, right? Secondly, Black Americans specifically had a stronghold on us, and we still have it to this day. It's not as bad, but we've had a stronghold on us for a long time, where the liberal movement, the Democratic Party specifically, has done things systematically to try to destroy the Black family. That's something that we've gone through that Africans haven't gone through at the same rates. So our family values have been completely remixed, switched up, and flipped over side, not because of just some lack of morality that we have as Black Americans. It was a way to destroy our community. The difference is Africans, y'all actually control your own land masses. You are the leaders in your countries. Y'all also have access to all of the resources and all of the things that you can do to where you control the healthcare system and the economy and everything else. But y'all let Arabs and Asians and white people come up and destroy y'all. So when you bring up that point, it's a lot of context that needs to be added. Black American women have been systematically dealt with, where they have been duped into being finessed by the liberal white woman to operate in certain ways, not from their own just waking up one day and you saying, you know what, let's just abort our children. No, it's been something that's historically been done to us. Now, the modern Black American woman of today has a different mentality of the modern Black woman of the 1950s or 60s, of course. So there's a lack of accountability that is there for the women nowadays. But if we want to talk about historically, you try to bring up that point to try to act like, well, the same cards have been aligned on both sides. No, it hasn't. No, it absolutely hasn't. Not to mention, in some of these places, They don't even have even statistics to even follow these things. And if they did, then the number would actually kind of be skewed a little, probably more than you think. But when you bring that point up, it's not a, I don't think it's a fair point to make. But again, let's not negate that part about the paternity fraud. Nigeria and Jamaica are the two highest places. Now, obviously, Jamaica is not Africa, but Nigeria and Jamaica has the two highest rates on the entire planet as far as paternity fraud. So you can miss me with that, but let's keep going.
Rates are way higher than Black Americans.
Oh yeah. Hello. There we go. Not to mention the marriage rate. So she also brought up the marriage rates. I don't want to get that messed up either. Even when it comes to marriages, Black Americans were married at a very high rate before like the 1960s. But what they implemented, the things that they implemented to destroy the Black family, which is feminism is a part of that. Abortion is a part of that. Sexual liberation, all of the feminism stuff is all, I guess you could just throw that all into one as a part of that. But not to mention they didn't want the Black man to be in the household. So they made the Black woman rely on the government, mass incarceration, drugs and guns in the communities. All of these things happened to try to destroy the Black family. This happened historically. Black people didn't just wake up and say, you know what, we're married at an 85% rate. Let's just say F it and just let's not be married anymore. No, all of this stuff was systematically set up this way, which these other communities did not have. So again, you're missing an entire government hand play into it. And this is a outside entity, right? This isn't us doing this as a collective. This is an outside entity that's like taking a part in this. So don't negate that point. So it's like if two people are trying to fight, but then you give one person no sleep, no food, no water, no training, and you be like, all right, fight each other. That's not a fair comparison. It doesn't make any sense. But let's keep going.
Near the same rates. Our marriage rates are way higher than Black Americans. So definitely there are differences there.
Well, let's talk about it because
I'm curious to see what Marquett is about to say, because Marquett be cooking. So let's see what he's about to say.
you said Africans, and so Africans is not a real thing, right? Because you're a continent. And
thank you. Shout out to Marquett. Thank you. I said the same exact thing. Thank you. He can explain it better than I can, but they love to compare our 45 million to billions of people over there. Come on now. Come on, Marquett.
So Africans is not a real thing, right? Because you're a continent. And for example, the South Africans whom I mentioned are woefully liberal. But if you go to, say, Uganda, the politics are radically different. And if you go to Somalia, many of them don't even consider themselves African. You go to Ethiopia, the Habesha look nothing like the aforementioned groups. So African is not a real thing. And if you want to look at the highest rates of paternity fraud, you can find that in the African continent and as well in the Caribbean, even higher than Black American women. So I'm happy to make the comparison because I think it's worth looking at. But which
shout out to Marquett. We right here with it. Perfect points to bring up. And look at her looking into space. I did not know that was a thing, nigga. I don't know.
Which African country would you like to make the comparison? Because I think it's worth looking at. But which African country would you like to make the comparison with?
So I speak African as a culture. As a culture,
but there's no such thing. Because, for example, in South Africa, you have 1 in 5 people have HIV/AIDS, whereas you find other parts of Africa, the statistic is nowhere near that. If you look at Lesotho, it's just atrocious. So that should impact culture. But here's the funny thing about South Africa. You still have sexual promiscuity being promoted. You have LGBTQ being promoted, whereas other parts of Africa,
they will behead you for being a homosexual. Exactly.
Uganda, Ethiopia, people wouldn't even consider that. Burkina Faso, they wouldn't even consider this.
So again, notice the point that's trying to be made. It's trying to act like Africa is just this homogenous society, and there is a African culture. There's no such thing called African culture. The Moroccan people do not operate like Eritreans. The Eritreans do not operate like the Ugandans. The Ugandans do not operate like the people in freaking Madagascar, which is an island off the southeast part of Africa. They don't operate like South Africans. The South Africans don't operate like the Nambians, even though they're neighboring countries, right? The Nambians don't operate like the Nigerians, and like y'all understand the point. So when you take the biggest continent in the world, which is almost 2 billion people in this continent, and then you act like, oh yeah, this is just African culture. No, African is Africa. If you actually want to be honest, Africa is the most diverse place on the planet. Skin color, the food that they eat, the music that they listen to, the way that they dress, the languages, the tribal, the historical tribal traditions. Like, it is the most. Africa is the most diverse place on earth, which is why it's so crazy when these people love to call us African Americans and try to say that we're just these average generic Africans and we are the same. And my cousin is somewhere eating the side of a beetle and calling it breakfast. That's supposed to be my family and we the same. You know how crazy that sounds? Somebody named James or somebody named Calvin or somebody named Dwayne that live in Detroit or that live in Miami or that live in Kansas City or somewhere in Florida that's a full black American is the same as some nigga in some tribe in Tanzania pulling out a damn rat tail and cutting it up and putting it as seasons on top of some goat's milk and some cow blood mixed together. Y'all the same and that's your cousin. So they even bring up the point to say African culture. There is no such thing called African culture because Africa is a continent of thousands of different tribes and cultures and languages and the way that people eat. So you can miss me with that. Make it make sense. But I'm the same as them though. I'm more closer to an African than somebody that's from LA. Some people in here from LA right now. Let Pan-Africanists tell it or women like this tell it or all these other goofies tell it. We the same as somebody over there eating the side of a monkey. We the same. Okay? Let's keep going.
People wouldn't even consider that. Burkina Faso, they wouldn't even consider this. So you're suggesting that it's monolithic when in actual fact, South Africa, which is the powerhouse of Africa in terms of economics, they have the wealthiest mile in Africa, right? They're nothing like a lot of the other countries, namely that they have a large white population, which is something that you don't have in Ethiopia.
Right.
So why would you compare places that are so different?
So, for example, what is the divorce rates in South Africa? I mean, if you can pull it up.
I can't pull it up.
I would bet it's lower than here in America, blacks in America.
Now we're going to hope that we can find the data by demographic in South Africa. And we know that we probably wouldn't get the data until perhaps post-apartheid, but let's take a look. So we'll say divorce rate and we'll say black women, if you don't mind, of black women in South Africa. And what is your assertion? What is your assertion that black women in South Africa are more moral, or what's the idea?
No, my assertion is black South Africans are married at a higher rate than black Americans and are divorced at a lower rate than black Americans.
Okay, let's take a look. And what would you say are the important metrics for a nation, like in terms of like how do we know if the nation is performing well, like doing what we would hope that they would do? Like what are the metrics you would identify?
I mean, I would just say all things being equal, really.
That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I'll give you an example. I'll tell you what mine are.
What?
Okay.
And we'll use mine because what you said didn't mean anything. So if you say, Marquett, what are the things that are important for a nation? What would you have happen for the black peoples of the earth or the good peoples of the earth or the black Americans? I'll say there's two things to measure. Happiness would be great, but it's kind of hard to calculate. So in the absence of happiness, there are two metrics. Metric number one is per capita income. Income per family, that is. So what's the average income of a family? And that should be growing, trending upward. And then metric number two is the fertility rate. You know, how many births per woman? So those are the two metrics, and they can be a proxy for other things. So if you see significant wealth in families, well, generally that's going to be a two-person family as opposed to a one-person family. So embedded in that measure is the idea that the men and women are sticking together. And a growing fertility rate is usually, especially in a developed country, it's a sign of a stronger economy. If you look in American data, you'll find that coming out of World War II, when America was very prosperous, the birth rate was actually quite high. And when America is not prosperous, the birth rate declines.
Real quick, I'm looking at the chat. It's something about speed. one of Speed's grandparents is Jamaican. Everybody else in Speed's family, just real quick, because I'm looking at the chat, I just saw a comment. Speed is not Jamaican. One of Speed's grandparents is Jamaican. So one of Speed's grandparents is Jamaican. His mother is Black American, and his father is 75% Black American. One of his father's parents is Jamaican. And which that was on that is true, but to say like that makes Speed Jamaican, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make Speed Jamaican or make his father Jamaican. One of Speed's grandparents is 25% Jamaican. By the way, being a Jamaican doesn't make you a tether. Just responding to you, Priest. Being a Jamaican doesn't make you a tether. By that logic, then you would probably consider anybody that's not a Black American a tether, and then by that same logic, you would probably consider Minister Louis Farrakhan a tether when Minister Louis Farrakhan has done more for Black Americans than most regular Black Americans. So I wouldn't consider that. But you would also consider that Nipsey Hussle is also a tether by your own logic, because Nipsey Hussle is half East African. So you would consider Nipsey Hussle a tether. I'm sure you wouldn't consider Nipsey Hussle a tether. I'm just bringing this up because your point really doesn't make any sense. I'm sure you could also consider like Halle Berry and a bunch of other, you would consider all of them tethers as well. Like y'all just be saying stuff. Y'all niggas just be talking. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, Louis, that's why I literally just said he's Caribbean. Louis Farrakhan is completely Caribbean. None about it is Black American. Well, Louis Farrakhan has done more for a lot of Black Americans than actually Black Americans have done. So that's the point that I'm trying to make. So no, that doesn't make Speed Jamaican. That makes his father 25% Jamaican, which being 25% Jamaican doesn't just mean that we're just going to negate the other 75% of Black American that you have in you. Not to mention, by your same logic, then you would consider Nipsey Hussle a tether because Nipsey Hussle is actually 50% East African. But I'm sure you would not consider Nipsey Hussle a tether. Nipsey Hussle has done more for the community than most people, even though he's half African. Make it make sense. Let's just keep going. I just wanted to bring up that point real quick because I see it in the chat. And I actually like Speed. I used to watch him a lot more when I was younger. I don't really watch him as much now because he just do too much for me, too immature. But to like the whole like Speed Jamaican. No, he's not Jamaican. He's not Jamaican. See, he has some Caribbean roots from his grandparents. That doesn't mean he's Jamaican. Just wanted to bring that up. But anyway, let's keep going. I know they got nothing to do with the vibe or the show. I'm just looking at the chat real quick. Just wanted to bring that up. So, again, one of Speed's father's grandparents is Jamaican. That's it. Which means like that makes Speed like 90-something% Black American. So like, come on now. Minister Farrakhan is from the West Indies. Yeah, I just said that. He's full Caribbean on both sides. I just said that. A lot of Black Americans have European roots, right? Which would you consider all of us? I guess we all tethers too. Like, come on now, y'all niggas be saying anything. Let's keep going. Not everybody, not all Black Americans have European roots, but some of us do. But let's keep going. My bad. I just wanted to bring that point up to counter that because I see that a lot on Twitter. Sometimes I'd be like, these niggas just be so lost and incorrect. But let's keep going.
The birth rate was actually quite high. Kind of a stronger economy. If you look in American data, you'll find that coming out of World War II, when America was very prosperous, the birth rate was actually quite high, and when America is not prosperous, the birth rate declines. Anyways, let's look back at that data. Are those reasonable measures for you?
I apologize. You lost me. So what were the two measures? Birth rate, and what was the other one?
Income and birth rate, simply put.
Income and birth rates. And why are we taking these into account?
What would you propose otherwise?
No, I'm asking. Why did you? Why
I just explained that. That's why I asked you, because you didn't track my explanation. But I'll just summarize it in short. Happiness, hard to measure.
Okay.
Money, something that provides for food, shelter, things that define quality of life. So if we have a growing income, that's a marker of something good. And fertility rate, which is to say that if a people have a very low fertility rate, they cease to exist. And so we can all agree that dying out is bad. So growing and dominating is good. Okay. Is that reasonable?
Oh, yes. I mean, I'll take that. I'm still lost as to what this has to do with the divorce rates and marriage rates.
So you were talking about South Africa versus Black American.
I don't like that he didn't continue to go on that point of the paternity fraud. I wish you would have went further on that point of paternity fraud. Because that was the first thing me and Marquett on the same tip right now. Pause. But I wish he would have went more into the paternity fraud, because that's one of the main biggest points. That's just like she just completely just acted like he didn't say that, and he's not going into it like I wanted to. Maybe he'll reel it back in, but I hope he does.
And
what up, OG?
I was asking you before we go into the data, what are the measures that let us know if a nation or a group of people is healthy, if they're performing. And so we can look at marriage rates and divorce rates, but those might not be the most important measures. And so I wanted to know what are the most important measures.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. All right, so this is what we have here. We're just using Chat GPT to pull up data because you had a feeling that the Black South African women would be better off than the Black American women. Here's the best available data, and I believe that is probably the best way to summarize that. South African divorce statistics are routinely published. The data covers divorces by racial categories, very good, defined as Black African, white, colored, Indian/Asian, and we're going to look at Black African if you don't mind. Black African couples accounted for the majority of divorces. Okay, so far not so good. 54% of total divorces. Damn. Okay, curious. When expressed as crude divorce rate, Black African group had about 23 divorces per 100,000, blah, 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 which was lower than curious. Crude divorce rate population, yada, yada. I think what we'll do is we'll ask them to compare. Let's see, in 2022, 58% of all divorce filings were made by women. Not surprising. Okay. Black African group showed a notable share of divorces. Okay, this is not very good. Let's go ahead and ask it to compare it for us. I actually prefer to do a little bit more work, but this time we'll see if ChatGPT can do the work since we're kind of here on our back foot. Now, mind you, I want everyone to take note that this was her theory, so we're checking the data from what she thinks may be the case. If it were my thesis, I'd already know the data. So we're checking her thesis right now. Okay, so please show comparison of divorce rates of Black American women versus Black South African women. That should cook up the right thing. Are you married?
No.
Okay. Do you have children?
No.
Okay. What's your age?
35.
What's your goal?
And won't be having a 35, no children, never been married in South Africa. Yeah, it's not happening.
Well, my goal is to be married now and have children.
Okay, very good. That sounds like a good
And to not be that attractive either, to be like a 4, 3.5, 4. Yeah, it's not happening for you.
one. Okay, below is a comparative overview of the divorce rates. Please note data sources, definitions, reporting methods between countries. Yeah, I know it's always challenging. One uses divorces
Facts, Chaco. There's no such thing as a Black South African. Facts.
per married woman, while the other uses crude divorce rate per population. Oh yeah, it's really tough. Anyways, multiple U.S. estimates show that Black women have among the highest divorce rates compared to other racial groups in the United States. This has already been stated about South Africa too, so that's consistent.
Nigga said 2.5.
Let's see. In the 2025 report, the divorce rate for Black women is approximately 47% of marriages ending in divorce. I'm hoping they can give us something very similar with the South Africans. So let's see if we can find the South African side. So I'm just scrolling down, see what they're going to say. Oh, they're going back to this crude divorce rate thing. So they're not giving us the actual percentage. Let's see. Okay, here we go. 2022, 54% of divorces involve Black couples. So it's really not giving us the actual data we're looking for. But broadly, it seems like 54% of divorces were from Black couples in South Africa, and 47% of divorces ended in America among Black women. So it would appear that the higher divorce rate would be in South Africa, which sounds like it contradicts your thesis. Would you agree?
Well, what is the crude for Americans?
They don't
Well,
do
I think
crude
that's
for
the problem
Americans.
that ChatGPT is sharing with you is that these two countries collect different types of data.
Right.
And so as a result, you can't compare apples to apples. But we were able to compare the divorce rates, which is higher in South Africa. And that's not surprising. I don't think
Well, that's
South Africa is
crude.
essentially African. No, it wasn't crude.
What was the 54? That was crude, right? Results and not for Americans.
No, let's see. But I think the bigger question is like, what made you think this without having any of the data?
I mean, I just take it for granted because of our culture. Obviously, I'm not giving.
She keeps saying our culture. That keeps being a thing that she continues to say, our culture. You like there again, we spoke about this before. There is no such thing called African culture. There's no such thing called African culture. It is a continent of 2 billion people. How can you have a set culture? There is no set culture. Again, this is just babble. This is just South African woman, 35 past your prime, no children, no marriage, babbling and talking.
$25. Good morning, all.
Shout out to Carmisha with the $25 donation. Why didn't it pop up on screen though? Oh, there we go. We got it. Thank you. Carmisha, thank you for the $25 donation. Much love to you, Carmisha. Carmisha in the chat. WC in the chat. $25 donut from Carmisha. I didn't have it pulled over. There we go. But Carmisha, thank you so much, love. I appreciate you for the $25 donation. WC in the chat for the $25. Somebody said Tether Feminist Babble. Literally. Is she in the US? Yes, of course she is. She's in Dallas. Are you surprised? I'm sure you're not. Of course she in the US. She in Dallas. Or from what she says, I guess she says she's in Dallas.
You any data, obviously.
So here's the first point. The first point here.
Thank you again, Carmisha. Appreciate you, lady girl. Thank you. Tether is an act, exactly.
Here mentions crude divorce rate, right? And that's out of the 100,000. That's the crude divorce rate.
Okay.
Here's a separate point that I reference, which is not the crude divorce rate. And you can see they both have two different links, which would indicate that they're referencing different things that have to be justified by different sources. So the second point that I reference is not the crude one that you referenced.
Okay,
More importantly, my point is that you came to a conclusion based on your feelings, and that is quintessentially why men must lead, because your feelings will often lead you wrong. So what was it in the chat that caused people to ask you to come on? What'd you say?
Oh, I was blaming men. I was saying that men should take into account that their behaviors, right? Like the reason why the feminist movement was a thing is because of the way men treated us in society.
Have you ever kissed a woman?
It never fails. It never fails. This is why I say what I say all the time. Fellas, if you ever dealing with a woman and she comes to be a homosexual, do not deal with her anymore. Do not deal with homosexual women in any capacity. It never fails. Most of these feminist women who are so pro-woman and anti-male are homosexual. They want to bump cooches with other women and they're not attractive. They're 35 years old, no ring, no children, never had a long-term relationship, and have bad dealings with their own vagina because they can't keep their legs closed with any man of value, and they have sex with the bottom of the barrel men, and they blame all men for the fact they can't keep their legs closed. So what they do is, since it's not working in the regular dating market, then they switch out and actually go get with a woman. They realize it doesn't work either because now they're not getting protected. They're not getting the financial gain that they want. And they actually realize that it's actually way more crazy to deal with a woman, and domestic violence is so high in the lesbian relationships. Most of those relationships end in some type of physical abuse because women are irrational. It never fails. This is exactly why you do not deal with women who are homosexual, because they're going to destroy you. If your woman is not fully, and I'm talking about fully heterosexual, not I kissed a girl back in high school, I kissed a girl in my sophomore year in college at a party. No, whore, get away from me. If my woman is not a heterosexual fully woman, you better be homophobic trying to talk to Aunt CEO. It's that simple. And they're always unattractive women. Look at this disgusting smile on this deplorable bottom of the barrel woman's face. Let's keep going.
I plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Would you believe that I already knew the answer to that before I asked you?
I would say I believe it. Yeah, I'd believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, because often, this is not to suggest that men are not problematic. They are. In fact, I'm actually.
In reality, most men like to date bisexual women. Stop the cap. What are you talking about, you dummy? What do you mean stop the cap? I just said don't deal with them. I didn't say there's nobody that does, you dummy. What are you talking about? Stop the cap. What am I capping about? I'm telling men not to deal with bisexual women. That means stop the cap. What are you talking about? What do you mean stop the cap? I'm not capping about nothing. Goofy nigga. You're right. There's a lot of men who would deal with that, which is why I'm saying don't do it. What do you mean stop the cap? Stupid nigga. You've been babbling this entire time saying stupid stuff. I'm going to assume that you're a tether. Shut up, nigga. I don't want to hear you speaking no more. Shut up, nigga. It's always these dumb old niggas on fake pages in my live talking. Shut up, nigga. Be quiet. Shut your mouth. I'll give you a spank and I'll take my belt off and whoop your little butt like you was my child and put you on punishment. Talking about stop the cap. I'm not. What do you mean stop the cap, nigga? You niggas be dumb. You stupid old niggas. I don't like you niggas. You dumb old niggas just be babbling and talking. Anyway, let's keep going.
Often, and this is not to suggest that men are not problematic.
Let me call in and cook you, say less. Perfect time. You got the right nigga. I've been begging for somebody to come up on a platform. Let's do this right now. He said, let me call in and cook you. Say less. Let me set my stuff up right now. You ain't said nothing but a word, nigga. You ain't said nothing but a word, nigga. Y'all know me. Y'all know me. Come on. It don't take too much time to get me on board. Come on. Hit that link right there. Let's do it. Boom. It don't take long either, nigga. Hurry up. If I change my mind, nigga, hurry up. Come on. Y'all already know me. I've been waiting for somebody to come up. I've been waiting. Chris, I've been waiting, man. I've been waiting, OG. Come on. Make sure that camera is turned on too, my boy. We got to see the face. I've been waiting for one of you niggas to come up on a platform. I've been itching. Let's get this work. Come on, let's get this work. Come on. Let's get this work. Let's get this work. Let's get this work. Come on, hit the link, nigga. It don't take that long. I got no cam, only mic. That's what I thought, nigga. How you don't have a cam? You a grown man with no camera on your phone. You're poor. I'm going back with a nigga who's poor. You're poor. You have no money. You're poor. I don't have a cam. Everybody on here got a camera on their phone. You're a liar and you're poor. That's why I'm talking to you like this. You deserve to be talked to like this. You're a bum. I don't use Zoom. Well, how was you going to get on the platform with them, you idiot? You have a camera. You're just too weak and ugly to come on, and you're poor. You're poor, you're ugly, and you're a degenerate bottom of the barrel man. That's why you deserve to be talked to like this. I will give you a wedgie and put it over the top of your head where you can't see. You're going to smell the back of your ass crack fucking with me. I'm not supposed to be cussing. I don't have a camera. You a grown man with no camera. You're a liar. And if you're not lying, then you need to stop worrying about me and worry about getting a camera on your phone and stop being poor. Got me wasting my time. And I don't talk back and forth with fake page niggas. I don't do that. If you want to come on my platform, you're going to show your face. That's why you fake page old niggas don't like me. Because I'm going to make you stand on your 10, nigga. You're going to show your face. You're going to stop acting like a bum and acting soft and weak and effeminate. You're going to have to show your face and reveal who you are. You niggas are used to being on these little fake online pages, talking on YouTube, talking on TikTok, talking on Instagram and Twitter, hiding your face. You can't do that with Ant going to make you stand on your 10 and be a man about it. That's why you old niggas don't like me. And I don't care because you would never stand on that 10 in my face. You wouldn't even stand it on the internet, showing your face. You damn sure not going to do it in person. Goofy. Now, let's get back to the platform. Anyway.
Asked you?
I would say I believe it. Yeah, I'd believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, because often, this is not to suggest that men are not problematic.
By the way, an old nigga is not because you're older than me. An old nigga is the behavior. An old nigga is a mentality. There's a difference between an OG and an old nigga. I'm talking to the old niggas. OGs, this doesn't apply to you. Shout out to you. The reason why I am, how I am, and what I am is because of the OGs. It's a lot of you OGs in the chat right now. But we need to have old OGs and the younger men holding these old niggas accountable. And we don't do that enough because we assume that because he's older that he knows what he's talking about. No, we need to ball his shirt up and put him on a wall and tell him about himself and put our finger in his face and wag it. And we need to, like Kendrick said, put your finger in your, give you niggas a 2 finger to your forehead. You need that in your life to make you become a better man. Now you're going to get muted because I don't care to go back and forth with you. You're on a fake page talking. Now close your face. Be quiet. You're in timeout. Put your nose on the wall in the corner. I'm going to treat you like you was in the 4th grade. Put your nose on the dot in the wall and you're going to stand there for 24 hours until I say no. Now you can't speak anymore. You're too weak to come up on a platform and share a face because you're scared. You damn sure not about to sit in the chat and talk. We're not going to do that. You're a goofball. Shout out to the OGs. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, because often, and this is not to suggest that men are not problematic. They are. In fact, I'm actually, really often disappointed with the lack of quality of men. Most of them are males. And frankly, I think that we probably have 20% of human females who really are just concubines, that they should never be married. They're not worth anything. And then we probably have about 40% of men who are not worthy of, making a husband of.
I would say it's probably closer to 60% of men are not worthy of being a husband or anything of a valuable man. Most of you men are weak, effeminate, lazy, bums, are not intelligent, aren't leaders, can't fight, can't take care of children. You can barely take care of yourself. You would rather have sex with a bunch of women and you want to be poly. Some of you just want to be poly, not because you want to build a family, because you actually just a bum and you want to stick your penis in everything, but you don't even have money to take care of yourself or multiple women. You're a bum. Most modern men today are weak, effeminate bums. That's why they don't like me. So we actually have a small percentage of men who are actually men of value that deserve to be treated with respect and masculinity and dignity and pride and everything else. And you just seen that with the man that was in my chat. We need to start calling these guys out. They don't even have a camera on their phone. You don't even have a camera on your phone. Most men today are bums, and we need more men calling it out. And the bum niggas are going to take this to offense. The non-bum niggas don't take offense to what I say because you're not a non-bum nigga. Let's keep going.
Because they are unreliable, they're too emotional, they can't get a job done. And I think women
or can't have a camera phone on their phone because I don't have a camera.
Instinctively know that, because if we look at even the data for women anywhere, you'll find that women have higher rates of marriage than men because they're marrying the same guys, so even if you look at intercourse, women have more intercourse than men. Well, how is that? It's because they're sleeping with the same guys. So I think this is like a natural instinct. This is very human. But the instinct to say, men are the problem, we almost never hear this instinct from women that are properly heterosexual. And when you look at the origins of what you were talking about, which is feminism, gender.
Come on, YouTube. Stop buffering, man.
Feminism actually came from the lesbian, not from the heterosexual woman, came from the lesbian. And I'll tell you why. Because if you go back generally in society and you look at the situation that women actually had, it was very favorable. You don't have to work. You don't have to wake up every day at the same time and go out of your home and do a job and listen to a strange man that you don't know and be among strange men where you're at greater risk from a higher number of predators. You say men used to be predators. Well, what's the difference between, you can be at home with a guy that you know well, the known devil.
That's true too. Bess Jenkins says, it could also come from ugly straight women. I agree with that too. Or some that are massively overweight. I agree with that too.
Or you can go to work and be among 10 guys that you don't know and also have to face possible violation to and from work. So is it easier to stay at home, be cared for as a mother and a wife, not have to go out and earn a paycheck and only have to manage your household? Or go out to the workforce and have to follow directions and collaborate with strangers and be at risk? Well, I think it's very obvious that the easier gig is not having a gig. So the only reason that feminism got started, because that was a cushy role. Mind you, when women nowadays are talking about they want to be in their soft girl era, what are they talking about? They're talking about being taken care of. Oh, taken care of? That's what you guys were before. You want to be in your soft girl era. You want to be like it was back in the day. So why did it change? The reason it changed is because of the perversion of the human female, particularly that small, minuscule, loud subsection of women who are essentially lesbian in their behavior. And what they needed was the following, because at the time, being
that too, but it's also hypersexuality and getting pushed by society. Because it's easier to control people when you have nothing but chaos. It's easier to control people when there's no marriages, there's no family unit, there's no man in charge. The women are leading themselves. When I say the woman, I mean like the more so these younger women. Yeah, obviously you see older women too, but it's more so these younger women that are usually in my generation. They are the main catalyst of women that are hypersexual, women that are homosexual, women that don't listen, women that have no value outside of their body. And they don't realize that until they get older. They don't realize that until they're 33, 36, 37. And then they want to be with a good man. At that point, it's too late because they either have children, They've either thrown away their value. They're not a woman that's malleable enough or can go under a man's leadership. And again, you see this a lot with my generation of women. I'm Generation Z. So these Generation Z women are the worst of the worst. Fellas, if you don't know, you older men in here, shout out to the OGs in here. I don't think y'all realize that the woman today is way worse than the woman of back in the day. And the reason why is because you have the same behaviors with the woman of back in the day. I'm not saying all women back in the day were a lot better, but what I'm saying is you have the same exact behaviors of women back in the day, but the difference is these women now have social media. So the ego is now added to that. The access of men is now added to that. They have way more bodies than they did back then. Why? Because social media is like DoorDash for sex. You can get sex anytime you want it. Not to mention that they're able to have sex with men that are way up here. So my generation of women are way worse than the women of that were born in the 90s, or I'm sorry, they were born in the early 80s, that were born in the 70s, the 60s, the 50s. I'm not saying that y'all had nothing but good. I'm not saying women were not promiscuous back then, and that's where the feminism mentality started. But I'm saying it's way worse now with the hypersexualization of women today because there is no shame. The good women sometimes, I guess you can't call them good women, but the women who aren't like that even promote the women who are like that. I mean, look at who the women look up to now. It's way worse than what it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. And I don't think that a lot of the OGs really realize that. So like when y'all be talking about game and giving advice, it's not to say that y'all are incorrect, but I think y'all don't go as hard as y'all need to. That's why I respected somebody like Kevin Samuels, because Kevin Samuels held both men. And by the way, the men of today are way worse too, ladies. So I'm with you too. The men of today are way worse than the men that were back in the day. So don't get that twisted. But that's why I like people like Kevin Samuels, because Kevin Samuels kept it on both sides. And although I didn't always agree with what Kevin Samuels said, I'll probably say I agree with like 70 to 80% of what he said. The point was he went hard, and you need that with this generation. This generation is a generation of soft. This generation is a generation of weak. My generation specifically is a generation of soft, weakness, effeminate, no accountability. People think that they are owed something. You'll notice something in my generation a lot on men and women's side. You'll notice a lot of people in my generation speak about what they deserve. You don't deserve nothing. For anybody that's watching this right now that's in my generation that was born in the 90s, or I was born in 97. So if you were Generation Z or before that, please understand something. You don't deserve nothing in this life. And there's a big issue with people in my generation and younger feeling like you deserve something. You don't deserve nothing. You know what you deserve? What you put in the work for. And we have a big messed up mentality with our generation and younger with feeling and believing that they deserve something because they exist. You don't deserve no good man. You don't deserve no good woman. You don't deserve a good job. You don't deserve an education. Only thing that you deserve in this life is what you put in the work for. And it starts with self first. We have a lack of self accountability in my generation, and it's a lack of that, and there's a surplus of not being held accountable, not being told the truth. That's why I go hard how I go hard. When I do my dating show, that's what I do, because there is no more room for it's so savage, but it's like, no, F all that. No, F all that. My generation is messed up, and I'm a part of it, so I call it out. It is what it is. Let's keep going.
Lesbian in their behavior. And what they needed was the following, because at the time, being that men were providing everything, women didn't have bank accounts. They didn't have debit cards, credit cards. They didn't have access to debt. So a woman who's a lesbian who wanted to be with another woman, you really couldn't, because you'd go out, you'd be broke, and she'd be broke, and then you'd starve together. So what they needed was the ability to be able to earn money so that they could have an independent household. So for that to happen, they had to change the society to balance things out and give them more rights. And so it was really a LGBTQ movement. And that's why it's always been very man-hating. It's not been focused on equality. It's been focused on man-hating because the lesbians don't need the men. In fact, they hate the men because the men pose a competition for the women. And so in essence, the feminist movement was not real. It was an exaggeration on some of the problematic things that occur within human relationships. Men used to beat us. Look at the violence rate in lesbian relationships. You guys beat each other at a much higher rate. Why is
they do have the highest rate of domestic violence, lesbian relationships.
That? Because that's what's going to happen when you...
Crazy part is, do y'all know the lowest rate of domestic violence is actually 2 men? Two homosexual men have the lowest rate of domestic violence, which is wild. Ebony, thank you for the $10 donation on Cash App. Ebony says, keep standing on business. Salute. Much love to you, Ebony. I appreciate you. Shout out to Ebony. Love you, Ebony.
Spend a lot of time with people. It's not a man thing. It's just that when the beating occurs, it's often reported by the female because you guys are natural complainers. Surely you guys hit men more than men hit you. It's just that when you hit men, it doesn't have as much impact, and guys are too proud to report it.
Also, when it comes to sexual assault, not only does domestic violence work this way, but sexual assault works this way. Most men have been sexually assaulted. Most men are just not going to report it. And most men have been sexually assaulted by women. I don't know how many times, especially when I was in college, that I've been out, you know, not necessarily like clubs and stuff, but like been out or dealt with certain women who just touched me inappropriately, and they just like whatever, you know, and it kind of brushed off my shoulders. But thinking back at it, it's like that was literally sexual assault. And if I would have reported that, that woman would have gotten in trouble. But men are just less likely to support sexual assault. We're less likely to support domestic violence, and we're less likely to be taken seriously, and we're more likely to be shamed for said behavior. So we look at these numbers, and a lot of times it gets skewed where we think that women are the ones that are usually the victims in these situations, when it's actually not the case. It's not to say there are no female victims. There absolutely are. But I think that we don't add context to these things, and women are more likely to lie about those things as well. I've dealt with that personally, not in my own life, but I've dealt with it, or at least I've seen it, especially when I was in college in West Virginia. It was one of my teammates. He played cornerback, and a woman lied and said that he sexually assaulted her, and because her boyfriend came to the school the next semester. The whole time this dude was hitting this girl all semester. Not hitting her like physically, I'm talking about like sexually, like hitting her, like having sex with her for the entire semester. Her ex-boyfriend came to the school, and once he got there, she said that, yeah, we was messing around, but he sexually assaulted me. It wasn't like that. And him and the other boy got into a fight, and the dude getting kicked out of school because of that, because she said that somebody sexually assaulted her. Whole time I was with them. We used to do 2-mans together. It used to be me and him, her, and then the friend that she used to be with. It's crazy.
We underreport, you guys overreport. You guys make up things that didn't actually happen. Emmett Till. So the fact of the matter is that feminism, gender feminism in its origin is a homosexual movement, and today still largely homosexual. And it's been overwhelmingly detrimental to economy and women and natural ways of living. And that's why in the developed world, where you have more feminism, you have a low birth rate because things are dysfunctional and they're sick. Death is an indication of sickness. Sickness leads to ill health and death. We're experiencing a sickness of the mind leading to death, lack of procreation, lack of life. I yield the floor.
So you mentioned
Marquett is funny, man.
You mentioned women not being able to own property and credit and, you know, have an equal household. I mean, that's a valid issue for all women.
When?
I mean, you know, I guess I haven't like done any research on what married women wanted in their marriage, but I would venture to say that I bet women wanted the same thing. They wanted to own properties too. You know,
women who are sick,
to be able to vote.
Women who are sick. You know, it's really sad to see the sickness today.
Appreciate brother Ant. Continue to stand on business. Amen.
I appreciate you, Beverly Davis. Shout out to Beverly Davis, the $5 donation. Appreciate you, brother, and continue to stand on business. Amen. I absolutely will. And donations like that, I gotta make it easier for me to do that. I appreciate the donation and the love and the support. Thank you so much, Beverly. Much love to you, Beverly. Shout out to Beverly. WB in the chat. Thank you, Beverly, for the $5 donation.
We've lost the value of family, and it's actually quite sick too that you think you're African, you think you have African values, you really have white woman values, because none of what you're speaking of are African values. And I know because I've spent a lot of time in the continent and I've studied. What you're talking about are liberal white woman values, which is really no value at all. Even among the whites of yesteryears, yesterdecades, yestercenturies. I was just in Ireland. And in Ireland, I was in a castle that had been held by the same family. It'd been a family home for 800 years.
WB in the chat. Thank you, Beverly, again. WB in the chat. 800
years. The family home. So, you know, if your last name was Burton, this was your home for 800 years. It wasn't, you know, if you're the man, this is your home. It wasn't the woman wants her own castle. It's like, no, if you are a part of our bloodline, our family, we are one, this is your home because you are a part of the family. What you're describing is very much so anti-African. It's anti-human. It's individualism at its worst. The idea that the woman needs her own. You don't need your own if you're a part of the family. And it is only the unruly woman, the disobedient woman, who needs to have those holdouts. You need to have your own bank account. You need to have your own car in your own house, because you're going to run your mouth, create conflict, and then you're going to want to exit the relationship because you don't get along well with others. And so that being needs her own things. But women who are feminine and chaste, they don't need that.
You talked about Ireland and I guess England and Europe and stuff. I consume a lot of their entertainment, and you know how they keep playing their old ancient things. Yeah. So what I've noticed while watching those stories is, when especially when a woman loses her husband and he's the owner, whatever, and she hasn't given him any male heirs, she loses everything. She goes back to the streets. He's sometimes in these stories he can't leave her an inheritance, or he was too poor.
Do you have any references to actual history as opposed to like dramas and like television? Because if you're referencing like shows you see on Netflix, then you're referencing things that are revisionist history. Because, for example, the most popular example, which is in popular consciousness, is the Queen of England. So she was not a male heir. She's a woman. You heard of the Queen of England, right?
Yeah.
She died.
So I'm talking
right?
pre-Victorian era.
What?
So that's before that's before women.
That what you're saying is not real, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that what you're speaking of is not real.
She bringing up a TV show to make her point about feminism.
Okay, yeah, because Victoria was the first queen. And then there were queens after her. So before her era, women could not inherit.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm talking about those eras where the man probably mismanaged their money, he dies, and the family now is in the streets.
But what does that have to do with feminism?
Well, that's the point, is that these women couldn't own the property, so they had to give it to the next male heir, which was not her own son, because she didn't have her own son. And so she loses rights to that family home, like you're saying.
You're referencing the affairs of royalty, not the affairs of common people. I'm assuming that you were not like in the line of royalty. So why?
I mean, that's a point. That's a point. But these are still real lives that were affected by that.
No, you can't say they're real lives because you have no references to history. You
I mean, that's fair enough. I'm just looking at situations like that could have happened.
But
that
yes,
is fair.
this is why women need to be under men, because you guys are irrational, you're illogical, you're narrative based, you're not fit to make decisions. And when you guys make decisions, everything goes bad. This is not to suggest that men are infallible and always make great decisions. We're both human, but your decision making is best within the home, within the kitchen, within the space of children, and the things that your man decides to consult you on. But when you get outside of that, you guys have just atrocious thinking, in as much as you're referencing history without historical fact. And that's very problematic. And my sadness is that education does not seem to benefit women in a significant way, especially with regards to how they get along with men. If you look at black women, for example, in America, there's actually a correlation to the more education they get, the least likely they are to have a successful marriage. And that lets you know something, that the education is not beneficial to the blue chip goals of nation building or even individual happiness. So my challenge is that women, and in this case, we're talking about black women, the education makes them think that they know a lot. They think they know a lot before the education, and then after the education, the level of hubris is just unmanageable, such that they're useless.
And I'll say this, I don't think it necessarily is the education that's necessarily the problem. I don't even think that's the problem. That's where I guess I'll slightly disagree with Marquett on. It's not the education that's the issue. It's the ego that comes with the education. That's what it is. It's the ego that comes with the successful business. It's the ego that comes with the status. It's the ego that comes with the high earning income. It's not necessarily what it is. It's what comes with it. And unfortunately, sometimes when women do get this high education or high status or high level in a capitalistic society, because they have been basically without, it starts to turn into it's like something changes in their brain rationally, where they become just a very, 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 very egotistical person who's hard to work with. And when men say like women are masculine, and women, a lot of times you get confused with like, oh, women, a lot of things you hear, like women a lot of times will say, well, men are intimidated by my money. They're intimidated by my financial stability. They're intimidated by my education. They're intimidated because I have a nice car and I can provide for myself. No, sweetheart, it has nothing to do with fear. Intimidation means fear. Has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with unattraction. See, a lot of women use the term intimidation to try to make it seem like it's not something to do with me. It has something to do with them and their own mind. No. It's unattraction, because I have no issue with you having an education. I have no issue with you having a bunch of money. I have no issue with you having status. The problem is, what is the behavior that is going to come with that money, education, and status? Egotistical, pompous. You're going to act like a tyrant. You're going to let it run through you. You're going to let it control you. You're going to make that your personality. Same reason why you see women say, I'm strong and independent. I don't need any man. But if you notice, the independency that is separate from the man always comes from some type of financial gain or some type of so-called quote unquote education that she now has, or some type of access to some type of wealth that she now has. You don't see that on the other side. That's not to say that men can't act this way as well, but the difference is a lot of these behaviors are like kind of just internally with manhood. Like men usually that act this way are usually dominant leaders. Sometimes they can be egotistical. All of these behaviors is not specific to one gender. The problem is when one gender does it, it's more so a natural order way of things. And a lot of these things can make you attractive as a man, honestly, because as much as some women speak about it, women like men who are dominant, who are leaders, who have a healthy level of aggression, right? Who wants a woman what man wants a woman, a masculine man wants a woman that is a dominant leader with this level of aggression that's just, you don't want that. You want your woman to be soft. You want your woman to be feminine, nurturing, loving. You don't see value in her money and her business. I don't give a damn about your status. I could deal with a woman who works in a Wendy's drive-thru. Can you make breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Can you give me a back rub? Can you offer me some type of sexual relief? And can you only give me that behavior and no one else? And can you listen to me and go up under my framework and my structure that I have set for you and the future that I have for us? That's called leadership. And I need a woman that can go up under that leadership. I don't care about your money. I don't care about your business. I don't care about your status. I don't care about your education. Be beneficial for us or for me in a long-term committed relationship. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You've never had to do these things to attract a man. Never. You've never had to get status to attract a man. You've never had to get education to attract a man. You've never had to get intelligence or money. You have never had to get any of these things to attract a man. The only thing that you needed as a woman to attract a man was be attractive and not be promiscuous. That's it. And listen, those things are naturally in you. You don't have to go out there and get them. I'm a man. I have to go out there and get those things and bring those things home to you to make you or not necessarily to make you, but to, I guess, make you feel like you can be that way. I understand that. But this whole new age of womanhood, and I have to do this and I got to get my education first. And then when I'm 33, then I'll start to date and take a man seriously. No, because by 33, you're 16 bodies in. You're 2 abortions in. You're 3 experiences with other women in. So it's wraps for you. You've not closed your legs for that long. And even if you did, by 35, you're high risk pregnancy. There's nothing else left for you. You've already destroyed everything that you could have given to a man, which is why it's so hard, which is why if you look in the dating market, the average age of a woman gets married at 28. By 31 is for black women. And then it makes it harder and harder as the years go on. That's not something that I believe. That's not a thought process that I have. That's facts that you can go out there and look and Google yourself. So I really want women to understand that. Let's keep going.
The level of hubris is just unmanageable, such that they're useless. You see, I'd be much more interested in if you can cook chicken tagine as opposed to if you can recount medieval European history. And you might notice you cannot recount medieval European history, and it's really unfortunate that you tried, because it sounds really bad because it's devoid of fact. Now, can you cook chicken tagine? Like, what can you cook?
He was serious. Yeah, like literally, genuine question.
Cook chicken. I don't know what
I didn't say chicken.
Chicken tagine is.
Chicken tagine is. Okay. Can you cook chicken tikka masala?
A little bit, somewhat, something close to that. Yeah.
Can you cook peri peri chicken?
Well, that's not my cuisine.
Okay,
I'm Congolese.
what can you cook? Like, what's
I
your
mean, I
top
can
two
cook. I can
dishes?
cook Congolese food. You know, fried
Like what?
chicken,
Like,
chicken, pondu. You
Somebody
know,
said, comment said, bushmeat casserole. Ah! Ah! That nigga said bushmeat casserole.
pondu. What's pondu?
it's what is it? It's cassava, I think, in English.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. You know, I'm more impressed if if I invite 30 people over for a holiday. You know, one of my most beautiful memories is, woman of the house, and I say, hey, I want to invite 30 people over. I want to have like, this, and like just give everyone a beautiful experience. Like, should we cater? And she's like, no, don't cater. No, I get 30 people. That's nothing. I got this. Like, I'm Sudanese. What? Like, we got big parties. Yeah, 30. Like, this ain't no problem. Let's get it going. That impresses me. That turns me on. If she's trying to recount the facts of history to me, even if she knew them, I'm not terribly impressed because it's like that's not what I want from you. That's not what I need from you. But here's the kicker. Mostly they don't know. Like it's just the truth. Mostly they don't know. So it's like, why are you trying to get involved in the affairs of man when this clearly is not your strong suit?
I mean, I agree with you. Like, if a woman is fortunate enough to pick a wonderful man, and he's awesome, yeah, I mean, why not? But if she's in the unfortunate situation where she's picked the wrong guy and now she has to fend for herself, I don't think that she should be in the street. She should be able to fend for herself.
She probably should.
I think
She probably should be in
was
the
the
street.
feminist movement.
No,
reason.
she should be in the street for sure. No, she should be in the street or the brothel. She should be in the brothel probably. Make sure that she can continue earning. So, what I observe in human nature is that the woman is the pursued and the man is the pursuer. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes. And you're an all right looking lady. I'm sure you get a lot of inbound interest. And if you could calculate that up over, say you're from age 16 to now, you got damn near 2 decades worth of male interest. Do you think in that time, maybe you encountered several men who would have made fine husbands and fathers?
Yeah, definitely. I had. Yeah.
Certainly. And in as much as you've encountered many men who could have been fine husbands and fathers, then the question would only remain as to why didn't you?
Why didn't I marry?
Yeah.
Why didn't I marry? Well, one of the reasons is because I wanted to be free. I was very feminist.
Promiscuous.
Promiscuous. No, I was feminist.
Promiscuous.
I was feminist.
Promiscuous, right.
That's the same thing. Promiscuous. No, really. And I think it's important for us to admit that because, when a person is single, they're dealing with a lot of people, especially if it's over in your case, like nearly 2 decades. And until we can admit that, we're not dealing in reality. And what I figured out is that you'll never find a woman who is going to say, I am promiscuous or I was promiscuous, but that could only be the thing that leaves you single at this age. You're a pretty woman. You got some pretty teeth on you too, nice complexion, and don't mess around and let you end up being thick or having some body on you. Then it's a wrap. Then I'm really mad. But even as you are, if you're shaped like a rectangle, I think you'll do just fine because men are fairly pathetic. And
she doesn't have any body. You can look at the look from left to right. Look at her eyes.
But even as you are, if you're shaped like a rectangle, I think
she don't have no body.
do just fine because men are fairly pathetic and non-discriminatory in their taste. And so in as much as that's the case, really, if a woman does not have a man, it's because of her. It's not because there's a lack of men. It's not because there's a lack of interest, because guys are the hunters. So the question is, when the right guy came, why didn't you say yes? And a woman could say, it's because I wanted to have fun or I wanted to do this and that. And that's a fair thing, but she also has to concede I was promiscuous, and I'll tell you why. And I'll give
Somebody said that's not true at all. I'm single and I'm not promiscuous. Promiscuous at all. Y'all need to stop projecting. Liar. Nah. There are some women who fall through the cracks, but the likelihood of that's happening to you is slim to none. Whore. You need to stand on it. I'm just playing. There are some women that fall through the cracks, sure. But more than likely, as he said, and I'll say this forever, most women have had ample opportunity and time to find a man of value in your life. The problem is he may have been too short. He may have been too this or too that. But when it goes into the heart and what's in the mind, most women have come across a man that is a man of value. And too many times, too many women have been focused on things that have absolutely no value. Oh, he's not dark skinned enough, or his beard doesn't connect enough. His hairline isn't nice enough. He's not tall enough. His sexual skill isn't good enough. Like things that actually have no long-term value as far as what it takes to be a real man, and the things that does come with a real man of intelligence and quality and intellect and leadership and masculinity and dominance and healthy aggression and all of these things. Those things get pushed by the wayside because he doesn't meet the upfront aesthetic. So you have a lot of women that are actually going for women, or a lot of women that are actually going for men from like a backwards perspective. So are there women who fall through the cracks and just don't get chose? Yeah, sure. Is it likely? No. More often than not, most of the women that usually they get into their 30s, specifically their mid to late 30s, and they still have not had a successful relationship in their entire life, and still there is no horizon of one, more than likely the issues are with herself, not with everybody else. Let's keep going.
And that's a fair thing, but she also has to concede I was promiscuous, and I'll tell you why. And I'll give you my analog, even though we really needn't compare men and women. Women will meet me and they say, how are you not married? And I say, well, think about it. I'm well off. I'm tall. I'm athletic, humorous and charming. And I do business all around the world. I'm James Bond in real life. I can do the things that every man wants to do. With the most beauty. You like white women? I get the best of them in Northern Europe. You like black women? I get the best of them in South Africa or in East Africa, whichever part you like. You like Latinas? Let me show you a place in Panama. You like Asians? Oh, I got a lovely girl in Philippines. You'd love her. So I can do what every man has dreamed of doing, and I can do it many, many times. And because I don't have a biological clock like a woman, I can keep on. I don't need to stop. So that's why I've been doing it. I've been living like James Bond would live if he was a real person. And so I tell them that and they're like, oh God, that's crazy. But I understand. Now the woman version of that just means you're getting ran through. It means you're just getting like every guy's just giving you pound town. Because in the case of a woman, we have all of these terms in its human culture that lets you know, like, it's not good. Right. And I don't want to use any of the terms because it'll get the stream flagged, but for men, we have the term player, right? Which is to congratulate the super players who can capture a high number of women. It's called a player. You've heard this term before? Mm-hmm. Fantastic. What do they call a woman who's what's the word for a woman?
A hoe.
Aha! Yes. Now, here's the difference. If you tell a guy he's a player, he might be like, hey, you're damn right, I'm a super player. If you tell a woman she's a hoe, is she going to be like, you know what? You're right. No, she's going to deny it. You see how it's different? So experience for a man is something that seasons him. And in fact, men need experience. Experience for a woman, it scars them. It makes them less valuable and damaged goods. And I'll tell you what I mean. You will meet many women and they'll say, oh, he didn't know what he was doing. I need a man who knows what he's doing, which you only know because of experience. I need a man who knows how to handle me. I need a man who knows how to handle my body. He needs experience.
Right.
You'll almost never hear a man say, oh, I need a woman who knows what she's doing. Nah, we like virgins. We like her like, hey, baby, you don't need to know much. Yeah, open your legs. Yeah, pipe down while you get piped down.
Ladies, I don't think y'all really realize how much sex, how little of it actually means to men when it comes to long-term committed relationships. Men are not you. I can go on to women and say that the majority of the men in this live and the majority of men in America, the majority of men anywhere in this entire world, sex is of so little value to us. Y'all think it's a lot higher than what it is, but it's actually very, very minimal. Most men don't care about sex. But let me explain what I mean. That's not to say we don't care about sex at all. We don't want any sex from our woman. No. What it means is that we don't care that you're good at sex. as far as a woman that I'm going to commit to. You'll never hear a man say, she's very attractive, she's very feminine, she's very soft, she cooks, she cleans, she treats me right, she's a nice woman, she don't have no kids, she does everything that I ask of her, but she just doesn't give good head. So I don't know if I can do that. You'll never hear a man say that. What you will hear a man say is, she don't know what she's doing, but I'm going to teach her. Because that's a part of being a leader. We don't cuff a woman. You've never heard this either. You've never heard a man say, man, I think I want to be with this woman. And then we be like, bro, why you think you want to be with her? Man, she get the best head ever. No man is going to cuff a woman because she gives good head. He may deal with her for some time. He may keep her around, but it's not for longevity. It's not because I want her to be my wife, right? We don't cuff a woman because she's the best sex giver, because your value is not based in the bedroom. Your value as a woman is based on how easy you can get on my framework. Now, of course, we want you to be attractive. Of course, we want a woman that is going to give us sexual access. But we would much rather that a woman learn that with us than to have to go through 15, 20 different dudes and then get with us and then know everything that's going on. No, because now she's attached to other men. I don't want that. I want my woman to be untouched. I want my woman to be unseasoned. Let me put some seasoning on you, baby. You can get with me and get right. You don't need to get with other men and get it right. You don't need experience as a woman to get a man. See, the problem that we have nowadays in modern America specifically is because we don't have enough male leaders raising their daughters correctly. That is one of the biggest issues that we have. We leave the daughter raising to the women. And fellas, if you in here right now, if you have children, you need to get custody of your children, specifically your daughters is who I'm speaking on. Because when you let the women raise the daughters, the women are not going to raise them correctly. Not in the sense if they can't instill any positive traits, but the women are not going to raise the daughters as well as they should, as far as discipline, as far as obedience, as far as being told the things that she should be doing and she shouldn't be doing, and being able to make her know the severity of it without sugarcoating it. Start to get custody of your children, specifically your daughters. Please do that. Because there's no reason why your 14-year-old is at the movies with her stomach showing in booty shorts with her stomach. She has a piercing on her belly button. Why? Because her mother thought that was okay. There's no reason for that. You need to save these women from themselves, specifically your daughters. And a lot of women believe they have to go through experience to learn how to date. You don't, ladies, specifically for you younger women. You don't have to go through dates and sex and talking to this guy. Did our great grandmothers have to do that? No. Did your great grandmother have to sleep with 25 dudes to finally realize she wanted to be married? No. She likely got married at 19 years old and maybe was with one other man before she got with her husband. They didn't have to go through a bunch of different dudes to figure it out. The problem is they had guidance, right? They had their mother and their father, but specifically their father, telling them what a good man looks like, what a good man operates in. And he was an example of it because she probably saw her father every day. And also, although he may have been harsh, although he may have been mean sometimes, it did more for her than it doesn't do for her compared to the women that you have today. So what we need is what a lot of women need is guidance. You don't need experience, sweetheart. You need guidance. You don't need sex. You need guidance. You don't need dates. You need guidance. You don't need experience with talking to this dude and flying here and flying there and traveling here and traveling here. No, you need guidance. You need to be told what's right and what's wrong so you can know. But unfortunately, when you try to guide yourself without any leader, without any information on the consequence, you're going to destroy yourself. Think about your life right now. You've been leading yourself to destruction your whole life. What have you done? Look at you. Your way ain't worked. You need a man to lead you correctly. Now, not all men. Just because you have a penis doesn't mean that you can be a leader. Ladies, I'm with you. Most men in America today can't lead. But this is where the guidance comes from. So where you can know how to choose a man correctly. You're not just going to choose him because he look good. Because he fine. No, that doesn't make a man. Regardless of what all that is BS. Because he got the most money or if he's the tallest. No, that doesn't make a man. What makes a man is integrity. What makes a man is leadership and wisdom. And what makes a man actually is his boundary of that he holds up to himself. No, I'm not going over there to that place. No, I'm not drinking this alcohol. No, I'm not going to have sex with this woman over here. No, I'm not going to go or hang around these people. What makes a true man is his boundary, even though he has access to do all of these things. That's what makes a man. But those things never get taken seriously by women in their prime. They usually don't get taken seriously when you're in their 30s and in your 40s. And at that point, it's too late. You're supposed to hear that at 24 and chose that man at that point, but you're not being led by any man. You're being led by yourself and social media and Instagram and Twitter and dick. Nothing else. So that's the true experience that women need is guidance and starting to listen with your logic instead of listening with your feelings, ladies. I promise you it'll take you a long way. Let's keep going.
So it's radically different. So the challenge with you ladies is that you live a promiscuous life, but you're lying about it to yourself and to others. I yield the floor.
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I feel like I can't really speak my mind, so I'll let it be. But I agree. Huh?
Your PO is right there. Your probation officer is around.
No, it's
You talking about your PO right there?
I don't want to be accused of not listening. What's the word?
I mean, if that's who you are, that's who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you want a little bit of time to get your thoughts together and then you can express yourself? Because we don't have to agree. Like, one thing that I'm certain on is I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to share my perspective. You share your perspective. You might say, hey, Marquett, not for me. And I totally respect that, because I believe that in this world, there are the good people of the earth. There are the wicked people of the earth, and there are the people in the middle who are trying to figure out which side to go to. And I don't want people who are wicked to be amongst the people who are good people, because that would be a poison in the water. And so I accept when people say, hey, I'm going to go this way. I'm like, fantastic. Like, if someone's like, hey, Marquett, I think smoking marijuana and drinking alcohol is great. I'm like, cool, carry on, but don't do it around me. I don't want you around me. And I'm not trying to convince you. I'm saying carry on, do what you do. You want a little bit of time to think through what you want to say? At
the end of the day, I think I want to have more facts on my side before I start asserting stuff. So next time when you live, I want to come with facts this time. Yeah. So you can accuse me of I think you said being in my feelings, or what was it like? I think that's what you said.
Your perspective came from your feeling, and not necessarily your emotional feeling, but meaning your wants or the things you want to be true, or your instincts, as opposed to the data. And this is not unusual. This is mostly how human beings operate, both male and female. It's their feelings tell them what to think and what to do.
Yeah, I don't want to be accused of that, because that's all I'll bring to you right now. I wasn't prepared. I just saw you online. I decided to come check you out. I mean, I watch a little bit of your stuff, but not all of it all the time. So next time you live, I want to try and listen to a little bit of more of what you say, and also have my facts with me.
I respect that highly. Tell me this. What is your plan to achieve your goal of getting married and having children?
Well, it's prayer, prayer, and just being a good person, a good Christian, and just focusing on myself and my relationship with God.
Notice how she didn't mention anything about a man. And this is another thing that a lot of modern women have issue with, which is really just understanding that, like, all that sounds good, but like, you don't do any work. See, if you were to ask Aunt CEO, hey, Aunt, what are you doing to become a man that is valuable enough for a woman? Well, obviously God and prayer and hold myself accountable, but also making sure I'm working hard, because I know with any woman that I'm going to deal with, I need to be a financial provider, right? Understanding the values of being a good father, right? Because I need to instill moral traits into my children, right? Being a protector, right? Some of y'all know I used to box. But, keeping myself in shape, right? Being a protector so I can protect my family and my woman. Not only is it physical, but it's also, emotional, because I have a platform, right? So I need to protect any woman that I'm dealing with specifically, because I know that if the attacks is not going to work on me, which they are, then they're going to go to the next of kin, which is going to be my woman and my children, right? So I need to make sure that that's taken care of. I need to make sure that I'm being consistent and I have a good enough.
$10. Thank you, brother.
Shout out to Mischief Mile with the $10 donation. I need to make sure that I am, keeping a good structure, right? So I understand, like, okay, well, I need to know how the household dynamic is going to work. So a woman can see that this is a dynamic that she can, that she obviously also wants to operate in as well. I need to make sure that I'm a man that has emotional control, right? I'm not going to be a man that's going to put my hands on my woman or raise my voice and scream and yell, right? Because it's going to make an unsafe household for my woman. I need to understand my masculinity is important, but also I need to understand that the way that I speak to my woman compared to how I speak to other people is going to be very very important as well. I have to treat my woman like the delicate creature that she is, right? That's what you say when you're speaking about what am I doing to set myself up for my future partner. Notice how everything, I'm not taking God out of it, right? But everything that has to do with work that I am doing to actively build myself up, because it starts with me. This woman didn't mention anything about a husband. She didn't mention anything about being feminine, cooking, cleaning, being submissive. She didn't mention anything about her attitude, or she didn't mention anything about any of that. The only thing that she said was God and just working on myself, which actually has no true meaning. You'll hear that a lot when women speak. They'll say, I'm working on myself, or I'm on my healing journey. But when asked the question of what that actually means, it has nothing to do with actually working on anything. What it has to do with the fact that I'm closing my legs now, and I'm not having sex with certain men anymore, which they're still pleasuring themselves with these roses all day. So they're actually zapping their vaginas into oblivion, which never gets talked about. So those are the actual things that you should be speaking on as a woman, right? You should be speaking about cooking and cleaning and going in shape, so I can going into the gym to keep myself in shape, so I can stay attractive for my man, right? Understanding that things matter more than others. So not prioritizing things that have no true meaning to them, and knowing how to choose a man correctly. Like, those are the things that never get brought up when a lot of these women are asked that question. I'm so glad he asked that question, because it really puts things into perspective of how so many modern women think. And it's just a major problem, and it's a major issue. They believe that a man is going to come out of the sky, and he's going to have a harmonica, and he's going to have wings on his back, and he's going to be 6'7", and he's going to be dark skinned, and he's going to have a 10-inch penis, and he's going to be a virgin and a youth pastor and a community leader and a business owner and a PhD, and be a hood nigga and know how to fight and always have free time and be a romantic man and be a man with no female friends and no children. And he's going to be a man of God, and he's going to be a man who owns a Fortune 500 company, and he's going to know how to shoot webs out of his wrist like Spider-Man, and he's going to have all the money like Iron Man with Tony Stark, and he's going to be able to beat everybody up, and he's going to be Batman. They believe that man is actually exists, and he's going to appear, and he's going to come right out of the sky, and he's only going to choose her. So we got to call it out.
You got to stop tweaking, sis. You got to stop tweaking. You have to stop tweaking. That, like, you basics, I just want to listen, because I love you, because you're a pretty little black woman. I love you. And with love, I want to tell you that when I said, what's your plan? And then, like, I translated that out of woman language. And the conclusion of what you said was,
nothing.
Nigga, I ain't got a plan. I ain't got a plan. I'm going to just wait and see what happened. I'm going to just see what happened.
I mean, I'm working on myself, right? I'm working on my body and my looks, and, just minding my business, really, and putting myself out there in the sense
you
that
see
I
how
join
bro put
groups.
prayer equals nothing?
I join groups, okay,
and
you try to be seen that way, really, and I go to church, so I try to be seen that
what's
way.
your shape look like? What's your shape look like?
No comment.
No, I'm just I'm not saying show me.
Well, I got more like a model body, so it's not like big ass, big hips. It's
okay, very good.
Like I've got an athletic body.
Very good. So if you manage your diet,
which is the equivalent of a fat woman who says she's thick and big boned. No, you're not thick or big boned. Your bone density and the bone size is not different from anyone else. That would be actually like impossible. You're just fat.
if you manage your diet, it would be like a nice, proper build, functional build.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. What's your height?
5'11".
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. If you weren't so crazy, I'd drop a seat in you if you know how to behave. 5'11".
No.
You can work with that.
No.
5'11". That's what's up. Now, you ain't ready for this candy muscle. You ain't earned that. That's above your pay grade, baby. But I'm saying, like, with that 5'11".
No, I don't want to be one of many women. Thank you. I'll stick with my one guy. Thank you.
You have 0 guys right now.
Yeah, I'll stick to my 0-1. I'll be happy with 0-1.
So you think in your life you have a good life right now?
Yeah, I have a good life. It's lonely. That's the only thing that sucks about it. It's just lonely. You want to share it with someone.
Okay, so lonely is one of the worst experiences. In fact, I remember the first time I went to South Africa, a buddy of mine, I went to university with, his mother used to work for the Smithsonian Museum. And so she was in South Africa giving a lecture. And I met up with her, and she said to me, "Hey, Marquett," this is a older Jewish woman by Estonian descent. And she says, "Hey, Marquett, I just can't help but say, you're young, you're good looking, you're well off, you're traveling all over the world, and I just don't want you to make the same mistake I made. And I said, what is that? She says, well, you have such a beautiful life, Marquett. You're everywhere. Do you know these beautiful experiences are so much better when you share them with someone? She's like, I don't want you to be alone doing all this great stuff. She's like, I had David, which is her son, my friend. She said, I had David like so late in life. I was like in my 30s. And, I met his father and we just pretty much proceeded to kids pretty quickly. She's like, but so much time before that, I was a journalist and I was just going around all the world by myself. And I didn't share it with anyone. She was like, the loneliness. Now, mind you, as a man, you're never going to feel as lonely as.
Oh, what happened? Oh, oopsie. I don't know if I lost him, if I was kicked out.
Now she up there by herself with technical difficulties, I'm assuming. What the heck happened?
That was crazy. When did I cut out? All of a sudden, it just cut out. What was the last thing I said in the chat? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. I hear you on YouTube, but not on StreamYard. Oh, there you are on StreamYard. Never mind. Let me mute YouTube.
What was the last thing you heard?
You said something about she had her kids later in life, and she was a journalist, and then you cut off.
That's crazy. I've never seen anything like that in life. I don't know how that just happened. That was bizarre. But long story short, you have all these great experiences, but it's by yourself. And I said male lonely and female lonely is different. Female lonely is you're unsafe, you're not protected. There's so many things you could do by yourself, and it's an unpleasant experience. Like if you go to Egypt alone, woo, that's gonna be unpleasant. If I go to Egypt alone, cool, I saw the pyramids. Nobody groped me, no one harassed me. So your version of loneliness is a lot worse than a male's version of loneliness. And I think the problem with women, especially black women, and in this case, you're just like a black American woman because you're a liberal white woman at heart, is that
I'm a Republican, just so you know.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Republican, like the political left and right in America is basically the same, is right there in the middle. Because
Exactly. It's two sides of the same coin. She said that like, I didn't die. Translation, I have sex with white men.
think about how conservative could go left and right in America is basically the same, is right there in the middle. Because think about how conservative could you be if you've kissed a woman, right? Like how conservative could you be?
That's in my liberal years.
Right. So I hear you. And this is, again, women don't have any principles or values. That's why like everything's fluid and it's back and forth. Whereas that's why you need a man, because you're lost. Like if you say, Marquett, how many dudes have you kissed? 0. Have you ever considered it? No, never. You know, Marquett, went like 20 years ago, what were your values? The same ones they are today.
Right.
40 years ago, well, I wasn't alive, but 30 years ago, same values today. It's consistently. That's the core of manliness, is you settle on the principles and morals. You stick to them. That's why you can lead, because you know where you are and where you're going. It's going to be lost. You're trying to lead yourself. That's why you lead yourself to destruction. But the point is this: women will be broke and lonely and lie about being happy. You guys are not happy. You guys are miserable. And for example, in America, black women will say, oh, we have the highest rates of education, but you don't have the income to match it, number one. Then they'll say we're the number one demographic buying houses, which
that's not true. There's the highest group of educated people are not black women. That is a lie that gets thrown out. I don't know why people keep using that statistic. It's one of the most delusional, idiotic statistics on the internet. Black women are not the most educated. It's such a lie, and it's such a terrible talking point. It makes absolutely zero sense. First of all, black women only make up like 7% of the U.S. population, and then majority of those 7%, and that would assume that all of that 7% is going to college. That's not true. What the actual stat is the fact that black women are the fastest growing women who are going to college enrolled, not graduating, not high earning degrees. It's just black women are the highest group of women, fastest, that actually, compared to other different groups, that are actually going and getting enrolled in college. So it's actually not true. I think the highest educated is actually still white women based on population. It's either white or Asian women. It's just a lie. And it's not a diss against black women. That is a fact across the board. It's not even black men. but black women actually get more degrees than black men. But thank you, Katia, with the $20 donation. Shout out to Katia, and much love, Katia. And again, it's not a diss, but it's just operating in facts. And not to mention, when he says the education does not correlate to the finances, is true, because a lot of people, specifically women in general, not just black women, but when women in general tend to go to college, they tend to go to college for things that are not high earning degrees, like child development. Women are not likely to go in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math. They're rather going to fields like I said, child development, human, not human connection, but like psychologists, like be a psychologist, like a therapist, or like usually degrees that don't offer that much financial resource in the end, right? You got a lot of black women that go to HBCUs and get African American studies degrees, and then they come out of college and go work at Amazon because there's no money in an African American studies degree. Only money that only money is actually you're spending money. You're spending money. Because you have to pay for this now new tuition, and now the highest accumulated of debt, if you want to really talk about it, per capita will actually be black women, because a lot of black women go to college and they now owe money. So that whole point of the highest educated, that's not true. And again, men are more likely to go to technical school, right, to become a mechanic, to become an electrician, to become a plumber, and those are actually things that you can actually make real money from in a much shorter amount of time than it would be if you were to go to college to go get some 4-year degree, or some to go to get your master's or your PhD. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's keep going though. Somebody says studies show that single women buy more houses, save more money, and have perfect health than single and married. I'm assuming you meant to say marriage. It's actually not true. Actually, you're completely wrong. Men and women who are married live longer than the other way around. That's number one. Secondly, it's actually not true. Most of the houses that women actually have a lot of times come from Section 8, and they come from divorces. So they get the money from the divorce. They're actually not our money that they're actually houses that they're actually buying themselves. And you said save more money. Well, that would make sense because they're single. Right? So they're not actually spending other money on other people. The same logic would also apply with men, because they live by themselves. So the men who do live alone, they wouldn't spend as much money because they're going to have a wife and children to spend money on. So it doesn't make any logical sense. But again, I'm actually speaking in facts. Everybody can go to Google and look this up. Men that are married and women that are married live longer than people who are single. That's number one. Number two, you said something about houses. No, that's not true. Section 8, where people get houses like that, applies, and there are more women on Section 8. There are more also, to even add on to that point, there's more women on food stamps. There's more women on Section 8. There's more women on government assistance than there are men. That's number one. Secondly, you're not adding to account divorce. A lot of women get houses from divorce, cars from divorce, alimony, things like that. So actually, you're completely wrong, and you're completely backwards in the actual facts about how those things work. And I think it's another point to make that a lot of women don't know how to read actual statistics. So for example, like when we bring up like feminism, when we bring up like women make less on the dollar than men because of they're women. No, women make less money than men, not because they're women. They make less money than men because, like I just spoke about when it comes to college, women don't tend to go into the job fields that make where men tend to make more money in. So how likely is it for a woman to be an oil rig worker, or an Alaskan sea fisherman, right? Or a plumber, or an electrician, or maybe some I don't know, maybe working for some type of company, even science, technology, engineering, and math. Women are more likely to be babysitters. And not to mention, women get pregnant, so they're not able to work as much. Women are more likely to call off. Women work less hours than men on average. Women also have a monthly cycle, which makes it harder for them to work as well. So
keep going, son, love you.
Man, shout out to my dad. For all you niggas that like to be like, man, you ain't even got your dad. Shout out to my dad. Thank you for the $250, man. Shout out to my pops, man. Shout out to OG. Shout out to OG. Shout out to OG. One thing my dad told me, y'all, I'll tell y'all something my dad told me from when I was a kid. One thing he told me was, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. And I'm always ready, my nigga. Shout out to my pops, man. W dad in the chat, man. Dad, I appreciate it. Much love to my pops. But so all of these things that I'm adding on to all these things that I'm adding are actual facts. So when you bring up statistics like that and you like to say that like these things are single women live longer than married women, that's a fact. And that's why I'm single, because y'all are very unbearable and wrong with your delusions. No, I don't think that's the case. I think you're single because you're probably an unattractive woman who's likely overweight and you're past your prime. You're not single because you want to be. You're single by circumstance. You're not single because you want to be single. That's not actually true whatsoever. Shout out to my pops, man. Thank you for the 250. Much love. W pops in the chat, y'all. But I mean, and I'm not trying to come at you. I'm just bringing up the facts. Sorry, I'm just bringing up the facts. But let's keep going.
In terms of solo home
Hold on
buyers,
real quick. Trad jobs are always needed, but women in the black communities not into that case that's beneath them. I'm 130 and 3 degrees and I'm attractive, which would actually prove my point even further. So if it's not the fact that you're overweight and it's not the fact that you're not attractive, which remains to be seen, you also said 3 degrees, as if men care about that. So I know that your value of the things that you bring into a relationship, nobody cares about. Men don't care about your 3 degrees. So you're probably very masculine. And if you are attractive and you are 130, like you just said, then that would actually make it even worse, which means that you're an attractive woman who still can't get a man, which would actually make it even worse. So it's something probably happening neurologically that's actually keeping you from being single. That would make that much worse than anything else, ma'am. So, I mean, I'm just being honest with you. You a woman that's 130 and you can't get a man and your degrees mean nothing. So it's likely because you're very masculine or you're just a liar. One of the two. But let's keep going.
number one demographic buying
W Pops. Appreciate the 250s. W Pops, man. W Pops.
houses, which in terms of solo home buyers, black women are outperforming white women and Asian women. But then what they never mention is that you also have the highest default rate, even higher than black men, which is crazy because black men go to college at half the rate. So black women go to college twice as much. So they're super smart, but then they have twice the default rate on mortgages. So it just lets you know that women don't know how to lead themselves. And when you say that you're happy, it's because women are so narcissistic and arrogant that they'll never admit that they're in a bad situation. And what's worse, beyond not admitting you're in a bad situation, you won't do the work to fix it. What you'll do
Hey, he said it, not me. He said it, not me. Perfect timing to the conversation that we having right now.
is, I'm just going to pray, which means I'm going to do nothing and hope for the best. And the best will never happen. I catch you 5 years later, 10 years later, you'll be in the same situation.
In my language, we say sans effet, without effect. Okay. Hopefully that works out for me.
Doing nothing never works out.
No. I mean, I don't believe I'm doing nothing. You know, I'm working on myself, you know, working on my looks, putting myself out there.
Wait, okay, so you don't think like, damn, I'm 30. Like, what do I mean working on myself? Like, this is what it's clinical immaturity. Because if you're really Congolese, your grandparents would have had how many kids by age 30? Like your grandmother?
How many kids?
Yeah, by age 30.
By age 30, probably 12.
Yeah. And if she really Congolese, I don't know the laws in the Congo. I'm sure somebody will probably tell me in the chat, but is homosexuality allowed in the Congo? Can somebody tell me that? I'm sure Spec probably know. Nerd ass nigga, no, I was playing. Shout out to Spec. But what is the laws as far as homosexuality? Because I know in some of these places like Uganda, they will behead you for being a homosexual. So what are the laws on homosexuality in the Congo? I would love to know. Because if she was a true Congolese woman, she wouldn't have smiled when he asked, have you ever kissed a woman and said, I'll plead the fifth? You're a woman that's a homosexual. So you're operating completely of your so-called culture that you claim to have.
Right. And you have zero. Like, so it's like, are you Congolese? Like, even I'm a black American. My grandmother had 9 kids. 9. By age 30, she probably had already the 9. And so it's like, are you Congolese? Are you black? Are you conservative? Conservative is all about family and traditional. Are you
I'm conservative now.
I'm saying no, it's not allowed. Yeah.
Is it okay to change? I know you said that men are the same, you know, their values are the same.
Well, the thing is,
I'll say this. Unique American, would you like to come up? Because you said that single women are outperforming married and single women and men. Single women are outperforming single women. That doesn't make any sense. But would you like to come up and let's look these up online and let's see who's actually correct and who's actually just babbling out of their vaginas? Would you like to come up and actually give that perspective and let's look up some facts and let's see who's correct. I know I'm correct, but I would offer you the platform to come up and let's look up these numbers. Let's look up these numbers of like education. Let's look at these numbers of financial stability. Let's look at these numbers of even antidepressants. Right, the amount of single women who are on antidepressants. Let's look up all of these facts and let's see who's correct. Would you like to do that? I have ChatGPT right here. We can look it up. Would you like to do that? Because I promise you my numbers and my stats that I can look up are going to be way more in favor of me than it will be of you. But I do. I would love for you to come up. There's no law that prohibits homosexuality in Congo. Okay, well, there should be. She's just talking. I know. That's why I want to offer her to come up. And this is of no disrespect to you. It's just, I would just, love to have a debate with you. Yes, no, maybe. I'm assuming it's going to be no, because you were probably lying about your weight. And we're probably going to see that once you get on camera. Which is typical. This convo was before black men just said they'd rather have women out of race than educated lame versus Pookie Ray Ray. Before all this began, this was what angry black men enough to want. I don't know what you just said. I'm sorry. I'm about to have a stroke reading that. She or he means single women who divorced and took their ex-husband assets. Exactly. That's like a point that she keeps missing, but I don't think she's going to want to come up because the whole I'm 130. I highly doubt that. You're 130. No, I'm not coming up. You did disrespect me. Hell no. I didn't disrespect you at all. I said you're probably lying about your weight. I said you're probably severely overweight. That's not a disrespect. That's an assertion based on, that's a hypothesis based on your behavior that you're exuding. I didn't disrespect you at all. But the point is the fact that I'm not lying and I'm being honest, and you're not being honest. You're not 130. I would highly doubt that you're 130 pounds. The average black woman is 187 pounds. So it's more than likely in America. So it's more than likely that I'm correct than you are. The average black woman is 187 pounds. So that's not a diss black woman. I love black women. That's just a fact. That's number one. Number two, if you're a middle-aged woman, which you more likely are, you're likely in your late 30s, early 40s, maybe even older than that, then it's very unlikely that you're single based on you just fell through the cracks. More than likely you're single because of the bad behavior things that you exude, probably your attitude, likely your looks. And if you are being honest about 130, then it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be your attitude. It's going to be the way that you treat people. Maybe you have children, and you also spoke on that you had 3 degrees, as if men care about that. You didn't mention anything about, well, I'm 130 pounds and I'm a woman that's attractive and I know how to cook, clean, and I'm soft and feminine, right? You didn't mention that. You mentioned degrees. So I know that you're actually backwards thinking. I don't have to prove anything. I'm not lying about my weight. I'm not overweight. Your mom is overweight. My mom can be 300, 400, 500 pounds, which she's not, but that doesn't even mean anything because we're talking about you. So now you're trying to redirect the conversation and use a red herring, which is try to just move the conversation to somewhere else. This is what most women do when you actually have no logical basis. I don't have anything to prove to you, so I'm just going to talk about your mom. It's multiple things that most women go to is you're homosexual, you hate your mother, you hate black women, you're gay, or your mama fat. They don't have any other argument. But we'll just do this, right? We'll just do this. We'll just do this. I have one even better. All right, we'll just do this. Let's do this. And that's fine. You're not gonna come up, but since you won't come up, we'll just do this. We'll make it easier for you. We'll make it easier for everybody in the chat as well. 1 second. We'll just do this. Oh boy. All right. So what you have right here is what I like to call one of the greatest apps ever invented, which is called ChatGPT. And if you don't know what ChatGPT is an app where let me move y'all over here, where you are allowed to look up certain stats and numbers on the fly. You don't have to use Google because it uses Google for you. And it doesn't only use Google, but it uses almost every single database online to make sure that the stat that you're actually looking up is actually factual. So this is what we'll do. We'll look this up. We'll look this up. Who lives longer? Married women in America or unmarried women in America? On average. Oh, okay. On average. Let's actually look this up and let's just see, right? Okay, well, you're wrong on the first stat. On average in the United States, married women tend to live longer than unmarried women. This pattern appears consistently in demographic and epidemiological research through the reasons that are complex and not purely casual. Key points: married women have higher life expectancy than unmarried women. Large population studies show that compared with the women who are unmarried, divorced, or widowed, married women generally live longer by several years, which is a long time. I'm sure if someone told you that they'll take off several years of your life right now for a certain amount of money, you probably wouldn't do that. Several years is a pretty long time, right? one analysis found gaps of about 3.5 to 5.5 years of life expectancy favoring married women over single women. So we're incorrect on the first one, right? Because that was one of the main things you mentioned, ma'am. You mentioned life expectancy. So life expectancy, you're completely incorrect, right? So you're wrong about that off the rip, which is typical because women like her, modern women usually talk about their feelings rather than facts, which is why you women should not be leading. You should be in the house baking chicken and marinating. If you had a man, you'd be making breakfast right now because it's Friday, but unfortunately you don't have one, which is why you're in my live watching me, which is fine, right? But it's not towards all women. It's women like yourself because you're very illogical. Now, let's get into the next one. So we're 0-1 for you, 1-0 for me. I'm gonna be 50. I'm like 50, I'm like Floyd in his prime. Now let's get to the next one. What was another thing that you mentioned? You mentioned financial, right? Who usually has a higher, access to wealth? What should we say? How should we base this question, y'all? Who usually has a higher? How should we set this question up, y'all? Spec, where you at? I know I need you intellectual. How should we set this question up, y'all? I'm just curious. So it sounds unbiased. I don't want it to be biased, right? Because it knows you're asking the question. How should I set this question up? Higher access. I say higher income, or let's say access to wealth, right? Because wealth is like the long form, right? Or access to wealth. Married. Spelled wealth wrong. Married or single women. Let's see what comes up. On average, in the United States, married women tend to have greater access to income and wealth than single women. But the picture is nuanced. Here's how it breaks down. Household income for married couples is typically higher for single women. Married couples in the U.S. have significantly higher combined household incomes. Have significantly higher combined household income than single people living alone, which includes single women, largely because two adults, often both working, contribute to the total. Personal injuries for individual may vary. Some data shows that unmarried women who work full-time may earn similar or sometimes slightly more than married women with similar education and experience, especially before having children. Notice that, before having children. And then marriage itself isn't guaranteed to boost a woman's individual wage, right? But notice it says before having children, and it doesn't go into account the women who actually are more likely to be in the home because their man financially protects them and supports them. So that's a whole nother point. So we're wrong on that one. So we're now 0-2, ma'am. Let's speak on this. When it comes, because she also mentioned this, when it comes to home ownership, right? To married or single women, or married and single women, and now I'll put / divorced women. Wait, when it comes to home ownership to married and single / divorced women, how do those stats, I guess, conclude? Let's see what comes up with this. Here's what data shows about home ownership in the U.S. by marital status, especially comparing married women, single women, never married, and divorced women. Home ownership by marital status. Married adults have highest home ownership rates. About 80% of married people own their homes. Divorced adults have moderate home ownership, roughly around 59%. Never married single adults have the lowest rate, about 47 to 48%. These figures are general population averages and both include men and women. I asked about women specifically. Wait, hold on. We'll do this. Only show me women. Hold on. Let me edit this because now they talking about men and women. Only show me women. Okay. All right. Married women. Married adults had the highest home ownership rate among all marital groups. About 80% of married adults own their homes, though this statistic isn't broken down by gender in every data set because married women are a part of these households. That makes more sense. Okay. It strongly indicates that married women are more likely to live in owner-occupied homes, meaning the man and the woman are both under the same ownership on the paperwork. That makes more sense. Divorced adults, which includes women who are divorced, have a higher homeownership rate than never married adults, but lower than married adults. About 59% of divorced adults are homeowners. If you isolate women only in this group, the percentage is roughly similar. Data show divorced men and women have higher homeownership likelihood, around 62 per divorced women according to estimates. Never married single women. Among adults who have never married, homeownership is the lowest of the major murder groups for women. So you're wrong about that one too, goofball lady. About 47% of never married women own a home. So the pattern for women in the U.S. looks like this: married women, divorced women, never married single women. So you're wrong again. So that's now 0-3. I can go to the Super Bowl and win the playoffs like this, bitch. Now let's read some of these comments. That's 3 now, not 2. All I'm learning from this is that God made man and women to be and work together. Agreed. I'm married and a homeowner. Shout out to you. This chatbot asked how women was treated in the ancient West Africa for the video for the Congo woman. Chatbot? You mean ChatGPT? This nigga said chatbot. Ask how women were treated. How women was treated in ancient West Africa for a video of the Congo woman. Ask how women were treated in ancient West Africa. I don't know. I don't know what you're asking. Like, what do you mean? What am I asking that for? All right. So my own point with bringing this up was, I got another one. Now show antidepressant stats and suicide rates for married versus single women. And this is another clicker. Sorry, ma'am, you're just incorrect. Let's do this one. We'll do this one. Here's a summary of what research shows about antidepressant use and suicidal related outcomes for women by marital status in the United States or similar contexts. Antidepressant use by marital status women. Divorced, separated, or widowed women have the highest rates of antidepressant use. So this is just women across the board, regardless of the relationship status, right? Divorced women, separated, widowed adults, they have the highest percent. Married, living with partner, 12.3%. Never married, 10.8%. Okay, these are overall adult figures. Women tend to have higher usage percentages than men in all marital categories. Okay, so it actually says that never married women have the lowest of antidepressants. Among women, antidepressant is generally higher than among men across the board. Women take antidepressants roughly twice as the rate of men overall, and this holds with each marital status category. Okay, so unmarried women are less likely to have antidepressant use. Suicide. So wait, she got to win on this one, I guess, for antidepressants. But even though I'm the one who brought this one up. All right, suicide risk. Population level studies find that people not married tend to have a higher suicide risk compared with married people. Research shows that never married and divorced/separated adults are more likely to die by suicide than married adults. This effect is often stronger for divorced/separated status. However, for women specifically, some individual level U.S. studies do not find a statistically significant difference in suicide mortality between married and never married women after adjusting for other factors like household/family support and socioeconomic status, which there's no way to actually come to a conclusion of that. So that doesn't make any sense. But okay, suicide thoughts as attempts, putting it together for women. So women have a lower rate of married women. Hold on. So, okay, marital status for antidepressant use, lower use, never married, lower to mid use, highest use is divorced, separated, or widowed women, which makes sense, right? At least from this aspect. I don't know about this one. But maybe they should be on the antidepressants because look at the suicide attempts. The highest suicide rate is for women are women that were never married. That's funny. So the point of the facts are simple. Women who are married have a better outcome in life when it comes to financial status, when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to survival, when it comes to life expectancy, in almost every single aspect of life. Women that are married tend to be in a better position than women who are unmarried. And this is just the truth. And you have a lot of unmarried women who are not unmarried because of their own can't keep a man, and they don't have any man that actually wants to be with them, and they don't meet the values of what the men actually want. So they end up being in a situation that they're in, and they operate in denial, and that's the real honest truth about it. And you know, you just got to call it out. You got to just speak on it and bring this chat a little bit lower. You got to just speak on it. But anyway, that makes sense though. She said that may be true because I became depressed when my husband died. That's a completely different situation over in this house because you are dealing with a death, right? So a death is going to be way more of it. I would put that to the side, right? I wouldn't even put you in the category of single women. You were a widowed woman who was dealing with a major death of someone that you attached your whole entire life to. So I wouldn't put you in the same category as everybody else, right? And I'm sorry to hear that, by the way. I'm glad you're still here with us. We need each other. I agree with that. Men and women need each other. But I just want to bring these things up because that woman didn't want to come up. So I just had to bring up those facts for her just so she can, you know, come to grips with life and understand that she's delusional and her issues are her own. Let's keep going.
You say that men are the same, you know, their values are the same.
Well, the thing is, I don't think you've changed. I think you may have changed your talking points, but unfortunately the core of what you're living out does not reflect conservatism. And this is precisely what I tell people who follow Candace Owens. Like, she can't be conservative because she's a working woman. She's a careerist. That's not conservative.
Right.
You see, only fools get taken away by words and emotions. People who are intelligent and rational, we observe the actions and the outcomes. So you're not living a conservative life. Like, I'm living a conservative life. I've never smoked once, never drank once. I don't even drink.
I don't drink or smoke either. I've smoked probably 3 times in my entire life and never been drunk in my entire life. So I can say the same. And I don't like, and I was never like, oh, he used to be a smoker. No, I've been high probably like twice in my life. I think I've smoked like 3 times in my life. Never did alcohol, never been drunk in my entire life. So I will say that.
And coffee, I drink
coffee sometimes, but very rarely.
Women in a most conservative way, in a very traditional household. I'm living a conservative life. Everything I say, I'm living out. So you wouldn't even have to ask if I'm conservative. You just come over for dinner and you observe how the household operates. You're like, okay.
Hey, Marquett be trying to finesse his way in though. Hey, if you watch Marquett be trying to like throw game out there to try to get whoever he talking to. He trying to get another woman on the team. I be knowing what Marquett be on.
So you wouldn't even have to ask if I'm conservative. You just come over for dinner and you observe how the household operates. You're like, okay, this guy's conservative.
Oh, hold on. You were just offering to drop a seed in me. How is that conservative?
Was I offering to drop a seed in you, or was I using hyperbole?
Joking.
Or was I using hyperbole to suggest that you have some basic genetic markers that would be appealing to a good number of men, which is only a reminder that your failing is due to what's in your mind and not the realities of your physical form. That's all I was doing. I was being nice because, to be honest with you, we both know that you're not qualified for my seat. I mean, realistically, why is that, Marquett? Well, I have every advantage in life. I have every advantage. I'm above average in everything. So I wouldn't drop a seed in you because I'm going to look at the most fertile soil. This is age 18 to 24. That's number one. You're far out of that demographic age-wise. Number two, I like wealthy women. I want to stay within my socioeconomic class. Women who are currently wealthy or come from wealthy families. I'm going to maintain my class. And also, I like women who like to be women and are heterosexual. So you wouldn't make the basic qualification. But the truth is, if you were a sensible person, which you're not, and that's okay, you would say, okay, well, I'm talking to Marquett Davon Burton. Let's just look at the data. He's above average height. He's above average athleticism, way above average IQ, documented and tested as evidence. He has multiple degrees from top 20 universities. He's above average financially. He has great provision, and he has the evidence of being successful at provisioning for a woman. So I know that if I were to join his family, there's a high level of predictability that I'm going to get all of the things that I would probably want. And if I have offspring, they're going to get good private tutors. They're going to have a great example. They're going to have excellence in health. And probably you as a woman, your health will excel as well. So a reasonable, rational woman who is well-bred and loves herself would say, sign me up. But it's the mentally defective that says, leave me out in the dark to struggle. It's just like, for example, right now, I'm assuming, is weight an issue? You're overweight? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're overweight. And
5'11"? She 5'11", so for her to be overweight, I mean, it's no excuse, lady. You 5'11". I mean, it's no excuse. I'm 230 pounds, but I'm also 6'5". I used to be 270 when I was playing college ball, but I lost a lot of weight. But for you to be 5'11" and be overweight, I mean, I think that's ridiculous. I think I'm actually a little lower than 230 now, but I just that's ridiculous.
And, you know, it's really a challenge in general. Being overweight is a bad thing, and I love tall women. I also like short women. I like them thick. I like them thin. It's just me. I love them. But you're 5'11", so you're going to be as tall as most men. And if you're also overweight, then that makes you an imposing figure, which is less attractive to men. I had a young lady, she was 6'3". She's a water polo player. 6'3", but she only weighed like $115. You hear me? So she's really easy to manage.
Nah, that might be a little bit. I don't like skinny women. Well, it's not that I don't like skinny women, but 6'3", $115, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm sorry. You look like Slender Man at that point. I don't want no woman. I like a woman that's about 5'5", 5'6", right? Maybe 5'7", maybe around 150 to 165, right? I think that's a nice weight for me, right? And then you have a nice shape to you. I think that's perfect. But to be 6'3", 115, I can't do that. I'm sorry about that. And then 6'3", bitch, I'm 6'5". Bitch, you can't be looking eye to eye to me because you got them size 15s and I already got big feet. So your feet just being as big as my own, the tallest woman I've dealt with was 6 feet. And she was a professional tennis player. And even her, like I low-key just be looking at her like, not that she was unattractive. She was a very attractive woman, very much in shape. But I used to be looking sometimes like, this is a big bitch. Like, man, you big as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I like a 5'5", 5'6", about 155, 160. I think that's a good weight for me. I like that.
6'3", but she only weighed like $115. You hear me? So she's really easy to manage. I still feel completely dominant over her. But if you're 5'11" and overweight, then you're going to create not only the lack of appeal from being gluttonous, but also you now are a dominant, imposing figure. But you got to ask yourself this, and this is how I know you got to get serious with yourself, is this. You're talking about you're working on yourself. You're 30 years old with no kids. You don't have time like that. You don't have time. The last woman, I don't know if you saw her, she was 25. I told her she didn't have time. So how do you have time? You're 30 and you have no kids and no prospects and you're overweight. What do you mean working on yourself? Like you are who you are. Like this is what people have to realize. People keep thinking they're going to develop into something else. You're not in a cocoon and you're going to turn to a butterfly. Whatever you are right now, that's kind of what you actually are. You know, like what you are right now is a representation of the real you. I yield the floor.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I'm not suggesting that I'm rejecting men right now. So I'm at a place where, I'll accept, the best offer that comes my way. It's not like I'm trying to better myself to get the top tier man. I know I can't purchase the top tier man. And then I just wanted to push back. Oh my, I'm going to have to add, my phone, my computer is about to die. So I wanted to push back a bit. So you say you're a traditional man. I'm assuming, I don't know you. I'm assuming you're not married and you don't have one woman, right? I would like to push back a little bit on that conservativeness. If I'm correct.
She doesn't understand that if we actually talk about true traditionalism in most societies and most tribes and most empires, if you go look in actual history, men almost never actually had one woman and was monogamous. I think a lot of women don't understand this, that if most of you women, if you go back a couple hundred of years, you would actually be in a situation where you were dealing with a man and that man had multiple women to his disposal. And I don't think people realize that. Go back and look in any society, any civilization, any tribe, any empire that was actually successful. Most men since the beginning of time have always, not most men, but the men who could deal with women have always had multiple women. I think y'all forget, like, this is the West and we're in America and we are under a European construct to where, and I'm not saying that I am a man that's not monogamous. I'm cool with just one, right? But if we actually get to talking about historical facts, only 40% of men ever since the beginning of time have ever procreated. It's actually a little bit under 40%. It's actually around like 35%. which means that the other 65% of men have never had access to women or ever actually spread their seed. So the small percentage of men have always had the majority of women. And that same logic also applies to this day. When you have people like NBA Youngboy, who has 12 children with like 7 different baby mothers. Future has about 10 children with about 8 different baby mothers. Nick Cannon has like 11 children with 8 different baby mothers, right? So the men that women see that are men of value usually have children with men who have multiple different women. In the black community, if you actually want to talk about it statistically, the black men who do have children, we have the highest rate of black men who have children with multiple women, which would mean that the women are almost always choosing the same men. That's what that means. Would you have the high influx of baby daddies in the black community? But it's not because there's a bunch of black men with children. You have a small percentage of black men who have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different children with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different women. So when you make these points, you don't know what you're talking about, because monogamy is actually a newer concept, especially when it comes to America. So you're actually incorrect, man. Somebody said Trump and Elon both got a bunch of baby mamas. I know Elon do. I don't know much about Trump. I don't pay attention, but I know Elon got like 7 kids or something, or like 4 kids or 4 different baby mamas or something crazy like that. But let's keep going. Somebody said, does that result in inbreeding? Well, I mean, I guess if you have a small population, so you'll see that in places like in a lot of Arab countries, or you'll see that in places like Ethiopia or Eritrea, not Ethiopia, but more so Somalia, yeah, because they have a smaller population, but you won't usually see that in most places with a high population. No, not really. Trump got 3 baby mamas, okay. But yeah, you'll see that in places like Somalia, which is why they have the head shapes that they have. If you don't know, the reason why a lot of East Africans have the head shape that they have, specifically in Somalia, is because of the years and years and evolution of inbreeding. And people in a lot of Arab countries, it's okay for them to marry their first cousins, right? All of those things are true things. Life, what's going on, OG? How you feeling? But so yeah, she's actually incorrect. Monogamy is actually monogamy is actually a newer concept. So she's completely wrong when she wants to talk about true conservatism. She's wrong. But let's keep going. Oh shit! What did I just do? Here we go.
Assuming you're not married and you don't have one woman, right? I would like to push back a little bit on that conservativeness. If I'm correct.
Why would you assume that?
I mean, just the way you talk to me, for example, I know you said it was hyperbole. I know it was hyperbole. You clarified that. But
I'm shocked that you didn't think it was hyperbole.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm used to that kind of language from men, especially men in the red pill sphere.
Oh boy, here we go with this thing. I want y'all to understand something. Because you speak about the truth and reality of relationships and dating does not mean that you're red pill. I am not a red pill man. I'm not red pill. I just speak. First of all, I don't attach myself to no type of movement other than my own, right? Me. I'm not attached to no group. I ain't never been a trying to get along with the get along type of nigga. I do me. I'm not a part of nothing. I'm not a part of everybody. No, nigga, I don't follow you niggas. I don't know you niggas. And I don't mean y'all in here. I'm speaking in general. Like, the point that I'm trying to make is, we need to stop thinking that because you said something that had to do with dating and relationships that doesn't meet in favor of women, that makes you red pill. No, that's not red pill. Red pill dudes are mostly men who are incels that couldn't actually attract women. So they get on the internet and get around these other groups of other men who speak very extreme and radical, like Myron Gaines, whose real name is Amaro Photo, which is his Sudanese tether, who fled from his homeland. And Sudan is in complete tribal war right now. But that is what that's red pill. Like, I'm not red pill, so y'all can, people can miss me with that talk. If you say anything that got to do with in the favor of man or not in the favor of woman or holding a woman accountable, that means that you hate women and you red pill. Please stop that. Let's keep going though.
That you didn't think it was hyperbole.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm used to that kind of language from men, especially men in the red pill sphere.
I'm probably not. Those guys are nerds. I mean, what you should notice about me is, the red pill guys, they're angry at women because they haven't been successful with women.
Exactly.
I grew up in Los Angeles, which, mind you, Los Angeles is a place that manufactures culture for the whole planet Earth because we have a place called Hollywood. Oh, I think did her computer go out? Dang, she got the young version.
No, I just had to grab my charger real quick.
Are you good now?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So give me 1 second. We have one mentally ill person in the live chat. Take them out. Okay, very good. Now, anyways, what I was saying is this. I grew up in a place called Los Angeles, which manufactures culture for the whole planet Earth because we have a place called Hollywood. And historically, when you define what is cool, this kind of comes from the Black American culture, you know, Michael Jackson, things like this, Usher, you name it. And mind you, people like Usher, they created all of these boy bands, which you see now today in South Korea and other places. So I grew up in a place that defines what cool is for the planet Earth. I went to a mega school in high school. So in middle school, I was the president of the school. In high school, I was voted Mr. Irresistible. I was voted best smile. I was voted best dress. The red pill kids were struggling through middle school and high school and college. When I was in college, I founded a fraternity, third largest fraternity on campus, started from scratch. To say that I've done well with women would be an understatement. I've taken more than my fair share. You heard me? I've been skimming the cream of the crop my whole life. So in as much as that's the case, red pill wouldn't make any sense because women have benefited me greatly. I don't have any gripes or complaints with women. I could only be thankful. They've only enhanced me financially. I don't have any stories of I was cheated on or I was divorced or she ran off. I don't have any of those stories. I got stories of this girl bought me some shoes. This girl bought me a car. This girl co-signed for this. This girl introduced me to this. This girl bought me a Hermes, this or that. This girl took me on my first trip to Monaco. I only have stories like that. So that being the case, I can never be red pill. That's why I spread this ism. Marquettism is for the kids. Marquettism saves lives. Now, with regards to the other part, with regards to you, when like your eyes are not even open, if a man in my position even joked about taking you, you should jump and just, well, where do I send my application? Because it's the best application you'll ever get to send. But the problem is you're wrongly calibrated. And women like you're scared of a man like me because subconsciously you don't think that you'll measure up. You don't think you'll be able to meet the standards. And you mentioned polygyny. You alluded to polygyny, and I'll address polygyny. It's worthwhile, especially since you're supposedly African, but you're not African at all. You're a white liberal. But if you actually go back to the true culture of Africans, polygyny is quite common. It's not just among the Africans. It's among the Asians. It's among the Arabs. The only people that don't practice it largely are the Europeans who have a history of homosexuality as well. See Rome and Greece as a great example of that. Even Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, is embedded in Spartan culture. Even the Afghans today are kind of a bit sick with that. But the point is this. Polygyny is a structure that has many benefits. Economics is one of them, but one of the reasons a woman wouldn't want to get into this proper historical traditional structure is because you have to perform as a woman, because there's an analog, there's a comparison base. So we can see like, oh, well, you didn't do your job, but this woman is doing a great job. And so it really drives performance in the capitalist system, which I hope you've learned something about, is based on competition, because competition makes us lift each other up. In the Latin, cum and pedis, meaning strive together. And family is about togetherness. And if you actually come from a Congolese family, probably have a large family, maybe even have some sisters, the idea that you couldn't get along with another woman in a happy family is a bit bizarre. It's a Western sickness. So the fact of the matter is that you never qualify for a man like me. I'm top of the food chain. You'd never qualify. But if someone like me even joked at you, you should send an application. If you were my daughter, I'd want you to throw yourself at a man in my position, because there are very few. And then if you even sort for color, like if you, for some reason you wanted a black guy, which I don't limit you to that. But if you did, then you're getting into a minuscule number of men in this position. And it just shows that you're not ready to be successful because you don't know when to press the gas. It's like you don't know what is. Like if you're actually a Republican conservative, it's like, okay, clean cut black guy in a suit with advanced education, professional pedigree, many.
Hey, Marquett. I told y'all, man, Marquett be trying to put himself on. He be trying to put himself on to get somebody on the team. I'm already knowing. He be trying to get she not fine enough for me. I wouldn't do it. She not fine enough for me. And she's been with another woman. I don't like women that are into women. I don't like homosexuals, but he trying to get another one on the team, and she ain't jumping to it. But I think his point he's making is correct, because she doesn't know, right? She doesn't know any better. She doesn't know how to choose a woman correctly, because most of these women don't have any guidance. But hey, I wouldn't do it though. She ain't fine enough for me. I need me You got to at least be a 7 to get on a team with Ant, and she's a 4 on her best day, 3.5 on her average day. So I wouldn't be able to do it.
Words to his name, current philanthropy, a great place to live. It's just like, it's not sensible. Only an unreasonable person would say the words you said when you're currently alone in a middle lower class or upper lower class scenario. It just reeks, and you have no plan. You're talking about, my plan is pray. And that's one of the challenges with the black female. And that's kind of part of why we had this title, because black women will give people no credit. Like, they don't show respect. It's something sick in the mind. Whereas the Arab woman, the Asian woman especially.
Agreed, Jermaine.
They're going to show respect based on where you actually are in the hierarchy. Whereas the black woman is often deluded as though there's no hierarchy, unless every now and then they'll show respect to a white man. But mostly they don't respect anything. I yield the floor.
Oh, no, I respect you. I respect what you've become in your success. I respect that. I'm under no delusion that I'm anywhere near your league. So no, actually, I was offended by it. And
by what?
I don't want to be one of your women. You weren't talking like that, but that's how I took it, and I felt disrespected. I don't want.
Yeah, but you don't got a choice. You 30. You're not fine enough to just be chose by one. You better be happy that anybody's giving you attention. You at 3.5. Any man that's offering you anything, you should jump for joy. You should do a backflip. You should be a magician and be Chris Angel and teleport to his house in his kitchen and go bake chicken and do something. This is my thing. Like, I gotta take it there. I gotta take it there, because it's like, who do you think you are? You have nothing to offer anybody. You should be happy anybody's giving you an opportunity. Not Marquett. I'm speaking in general. You're not fine enough to leverage what you want. And I don't think a lot of women like her realize this. You're not fine enough to have any leverage. Look at your life and the decisions that you've made and the men that you've dealt with. Your way ain't never worked. So you might have to try a different way. I'm working on myself. You ain't doing nothing. You don't even go work out. You're fat. 5'11" and severely overweight. There's no more that you have nothing else of, well, we'll see. No, it's about to be curtains for you. So you need to figure it out. And I think that's the issue that women like her have. Most men are not of value. Most men are not of value. I will give you that. I agree with that. Most men are not of value. But when one does come along, you better be washing his balls and asking what type of soap that he wants to use. That's all I'm saying.
You weren't talking like that, but that's how I took it, and I felt disrespected. I don't want to be one of many women. Like you said, I'm African, I'm Congolese. I'm from a place where women share their men. That's one of the reasons why I became feminist. I don't want to share my husband. I've seen the trouble that comes with it. I see the trouble that comes amongst the children, the siblings, the what's it called, the competition amongst siblings. I've seen it, and I don't want none of that. I want my own man, my own children, and yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So that is,
there's nothing wrong with it, but the problem is you are not in a position to leverage that. So you need to work with what you have. That's the point that I'm making, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So that's the reason why I on that. Huh?
What's the data on that?
Again, I don't have the data. I just have friends that come from polygamous families, right? Yes. That, I mean, people I grew up with.
Yeah, the challenge is that you'll have a woman, because the irrationality of the human being is this. And this is funny. I know a young lady, I hope she's not watching. She probably is watching, but I know a young lady who, she has her mother's has many baby daddies, right? And she'll say, no, I could never do polygyny. I say, why is that? She said, because I just want one man. But your mom has 5 baby daddies. Like, why? Your mom has 5 baby daddies. Like, well, You act like you come from a situation where your mom was monogamous and it worked out. Your mom tried monogamy 5 separate times and it failed 5 separate times.
To be fair, and to counter that point, because you come from that, may be the exact reason why you wouldn't want to repeat that cycle, because you know it's not of any value to you. And it hasn't been. So to be fair, to say that, well, your mother did it, that doesn't make any sense, because that would mean that, well, because that is the case, then you wouldn't want to repeat the same cycle. I will say that.
5 separate times and it failed 5 separate times. You're the best candidate for polygyny. Like, you know for sure that monogamy is a failure. Your mom tried it 5 times with 5 guys and it failed every time. And it's the irrationality, which is what I'm pointing out to you. That's why I say, what's the data? Because you guys will say things like, oh, it doesn't work. And I'm like, well, what's the divorce rate for monogamy? Divorce rate, 60%, 70%. Well, I thought monogamy works. The divorce rate is like 70%. Or you guys will be monogamous, except you guys will have a bunch of baby mamas. And so you got all these broken families left around. And for some reason, you're acting like that's a success when really that's a failure. So in actual reality, the reason I asked you about the data is because you don't have data. You'll never look at the data. And here's the kicker. It doesn't matter what the data is. The data could tell you that polygyny has a higher rate of marital success, has greater outcomes for the kids, and you still wouldn't decide to engage in polygyny because it's about your feelings. It's about conflicts you have within the self. Because here's the kicker. Imagine having no man, but you're already convinced that you have to guard and hold on to that man. You don't even have a man. You're at 0 man. Getting half of a man would be a major upgrade from 0 man. But you're not even trying to upgrade to get half of a man, as you would put it. And so what we're actually dealing with, what's really driving that is not the logic of how do the kids fare? How does the marriage fare? What is driving you is the controlling, masculine, non-feminine, non-submissive, just controlling nature. That's what's driving you. I yield the floor.
I mean, I think I understand why you speak that way. I mean, you speaking about it from a male's perspective. It makes sense to the man. You're not for 1 minute stepping into our shoes and trying to understand, or not even trying to understand, hear us when we say it doesn't work for us. You talk about 60%, I guess, non-divorce rate in polygamous families. Where? The question will be
I didn't
where?
say that. I didn't say that. I was.
What was the 60%?
You weren't listening. I don't think you caught it. I said I was giving you a hypothetical. I said if it was this, it wouldn't matter.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Data. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I apologize then, because I was trying to write, so I don't. You throw a lot of points. I was trying to write, so I know where my answers are. You know, you talk about the lady whose mother has 5 baby daddies, right? Yeah. The point in that situation, from a female's point of view, a feminist point of view, is that women and men are treated equally, right? The man has 20 women, the woman has 20 husbands. It's fair, it's equal. That's the point there.
Okay, but so by that logic, then I should be able to whoop your ass. By that logic, then you should be going 50-50 when it comes to finances. By that logic, then it should apply in every single aspect, not just for, well, you get to have sex with 20 women and I get to have sex with 20 men. Well, here's the difference, dummy. The difference is I can't get pregnant. Only you can get pregnant. So that's number one. Secondly, I don't have any emotional tie to any of these other women. That's number two. So, and thirdly, when it comes to just making sure that children is mine, well, if I have sex with a bunch of women, as long as those women have only been having sex with me, the children are going to be mine. We're going to know whose loin it belongs to. Not the same with you. If you have sex with 20 men, and there's no way of you knowing which one is the father. So there's much of an issue with you sleeping around than it is with a man sleeping around, which is why it's not viewed the same way. You're a delusional, idiotic woman. If I was talking to her, I would have took it there, but let's keep going.
Women and men are treated equally, right? The man has 20 women, the woman has 20 husbands. It's fair, it's equal. That's the point there.
Wait,
you're trying to create a world where...
Wait, are you a feminist or are you not a feminist?
I'm trying to speak from that point of view. I'm trying to...
Well, why? Like, let's speak from what we... Like, are you a feminist or are you not a feminist?
I'm not a feminist.
Oh, so why are you speaking from a feminist point of view?
Well, I just trying to make people understand or help people understand why feminism is a thing.
Okay, well, just real quick, I'm going to explain to you why that doesn't make any sense. Like, you should never compare those two. So let's just say today, I have sex with 20 women and you have sex with 20 men, right? Let's just give an assumption that the 20 women I have sex with today are all clean and the 20 men you have with are all clean, right?
He about to give the same argument that I gave. We on the same tip. Pause.
At the end of me going back to back to back to back with 20 women and you going back to back with 20 guys, I have zero biological risk. You have a tremendous amount of biological risk. Your pH balance is all off in your vagina.
Yep.
You got yeast infections. You got urinary tract infections. So once you get done with all these UTIs and all these things we didn't even know about, in addition to that, your body is going to stink. My body's not going to stink at all. I can actually literally just wash the phallus because it's an external part, which would be an indication to you that biologically you're not designed to do the same things that men do. So do you understand that if you were to try to actually live as a male, your body will break down and it will essentially make you sick and die? Do you get that much?
Yeah, I'm not arguing that we are designed the same way or we are designed to have 20 men as much as men have 20. I'm not arguing for that. What I'm arguing for...
What biological risk would he have to deal with, Lashana? Or LaShawn? What biological risk would he have to deal with? I'm genuinely asking because I don't know. He said that it applies on both sides, that let's just say for the hypothetical that none of the women that he sleep with have anything and none of the men that she sleep with have anything. So there's a zero chance of an STD. What biological risk? And if there is, how would it compare to the biological risk that women have to go through when we don't have the emotional tie when it comes to sex, nor do we get pregnant, nor will the children not be proven to be ours because the woman let's assume that the women that I'm sleeping with have only been with me. So what risk would there be? A chance of someone getting pregnant as well as a spiritual risk. Okay, the spiritual risk that's not an argument because there's no way to prove that. It's in the spirit realm, so there's no argument. But there's no argument there. But as far as the someone getting pregnant, well, the thing is, he's talking about the comparison of himself. Men don't get pregnant, so he's saying the biological risk of having to deal with it. Men don't get pregnant, so I can go sleep with a woman and never speak to her again. If a man sleeps with you and you get pregnant and y'all never speak again, well, guess what? You still have to deal with the risk of now your body can change and there's a possibility that you can die because you got pregnant. Some women die during pregnancy. They die during labor. Like, that happens. So the point is that there's not an equation of a risk. And I mean, for spiritual risk, that's not an argument. That's some pseudoscience argument that you're making. Because what if someone says, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the spirit world. I believe that I believe in something completely different. There's no argument. Now we're just arguing how we feel based on this whole quote unquote spiritual realm. There is no argument to make based on that. The only argument that we can make is what we know and what we can prove, because you can't prove anything as far as a spirit, because by that logic, then you can say anything. And I'm not saying that I disagree with you, because I do believe that there's a spirit world. I do believe in God. I do believe in a higher power. I do believe that there's a emotional attachment and there's a spiritual attachment when it comes to sex. But let's just say someone doesn't believe in that. The only thing that we can argue is a biological thing that you can actually prove in real time. And what you can prove is if a man is sleeping with 20 women and a woman is sleeping with 20 men, there's going to be much more of a biological and a mental risk that is going to go on the female than it will be the male, because we are completely different. That's the only point that he's making and the only point that I was making. So,
because men have 20, I'm not arguing for that. What I'm arguing for,
you just said
if I were a feminist, if I were a feminist, is being free, right? So in Africa, like you want to talk about Africa, and let me not talk about it as monolithic, okay? Let's just say South Africa, okay? Women would get hurt for having two men. Would get physically hurt by our men, right? They'll beat us or do something to us physically, right? Excellent. So feminism here in America gives us that liberty.
He low-key cut. He talking about excellent. Praise God. He low-key cut for that.
Freedom. So yes, she has 5 husbands. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not for that. My mom got married a virgin. I was raised to be to get married a virgin. Okay, I'm from that culture. Was your mother
polygynous or monogamous?
Monogamous, because we're Christians. I was born in a Christian household. My dad is a one-man woman. He comes from a polygamous background.
Okay,
My
so
dad
your
does.
dad was colonized, and so he's a one man woman, and he did such a good job as a Christian that you're 30 years old with no kids and no man. I mean, come on, that's a fail, right?
Well, I mean that is, yeah, it hurts him,
fail.
and
Major
it is a
fail.
fail. He
Major.
is a laughing stock in our community for sure, and it hurts
Yeah.
me that I didn't honor my parents or my dad in that way. But
Well, it lets you know
be it
your
as it may,
religion
here
and
we
your
are.
culture failed. So it's like,
Excuse
why
me, sir?
continue with that? Your religion and your culture failed.
No, my religion works perfectly. Like my friends,
Does it?
yeah, my friends that continued in the route that I was supposed to. They're married, they have their children. I'm like one of what, 2 or 3 girls in my group that aren't married.
Your religion
They,
works perfectly?
yeah.
It works perfectly. How did Christianity come to the Congo?
You want to say through war or through force or
I'm asking you.
colonization?
Probably through white European, not refugees. What am I saying? Colonizers, but also through those mission people. They bring over like missionaries. Thank you, the missionaries. Thank you, Jermaine. That's what I was looking for. It's probably through those missionaries, those white missionaries, liberal white women missionaries.
I'm asking you.
So first through missionaries.
Okay. I'm listening.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, first through missionaries, and then that alerted the greater, I guess, Europe, and then they decided to colonize, come in, stake it out, colonize, and yeah.
You ever heard of King Leopold?
Mm-hmm.
You have heard of King Leopold. Oh,
Yes.
interesting. Was he a
King Sonny right on the money with it. King Leopold. I didn't even know. I've heard of it, but I didn't know that that was the colonization over the Congo. I didn't know that King Sonny or Sonny.
Christian?
I have no idea.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you know what King Leopold did to your people in your country?
Yeah, he hurt us
How?
badly.
Would you give us some examples? Because
I mean, one of the
He's
things
like-
I read was that
sarcastic as hell.
half the
you have
population
to read this?
of Congo,
That's a shame, but go ahead.
half the population of Congo had died when they landed. They did something to us. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I mean, definitely they hurt us. But I don't think that's a slight against my God or the Christian God.
I think that's because your father and your culture didn't teach you anything about Congo. It hurts me quite a bit because Congo, you guys produce rubber, right? Was it rubber there? Was that what
I
it
don't
was?
know.
Someone in the chat help me out. Oh, you don't know? Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, I'm South African. I grew up South African.
No. You're Congolese.
Born
So that's
Congolese.
not-
Grew up
Yeah,
in South
you're
Africa.
Congolese. You see, that would be like me being in Germany, and then we start talking, and then you say, "Oh, but you're black," and I'm like, "No, I'm German." No, I may be a German national, but I'm black, and you're Congolese.
Okay, can I add something before? It's like telling a Mexican who moved here and was born here, not born here, but grew up here since they were 11 or 1. In my case, I was 1, and tell them that no, you're Mexican. They don't know Mexico.
Here's why that's a terrible example, because you're talking about ethnicity and nationality. I'm talking about blood. So when I say you're Congolese, I'm talking about your blood. Your
Okay,
blood is
yeah, I'm Congolese by blood. Yeah.
Yes.
I
So
accept
we're talking
that.
about blood.
Okay.
Now, there's no Mexican blood, because if there was Mexican blood, they would look the same. You can find a black Mexican in Veracruz. You can find a white Mexican in Jalisco or on Telemundo, because it's a
That's a good
mixture of
point.
blood. So it's an ethnicity.
That's a good point. If you look at Canelo Alvarez compared to a darker skinned Mexican, it's completely different. So Mexicans are only been around for past 500, 600 years, by the way. So they're a new ethnic group
That's why on census reports, you'll see it says,
who classify themselves as white. Most Mexicans, they classify themselves as white, which is, I just call them white. I don't like, you're white. They love that. I'm not the, you're white. Be quiet. You're white. You're a white man. Be quiet. Just like they get cool with the white people in jail, like the Latin Kings and the MS-13s. They be connected with the Aryan Brotherhood when they get in jail, but they love to act like they're a minority. You're a white man. Be quiet.
Hispanic, non-black, Hispanic, non-white. So the fact of the matter is, you're Congolese by blood, and we're talking about your blood. So we're talking about your people. And the thing that saddens me, and this is why you Africans are so pathetic and colonized, is because you don't even know yourself. It's a pity that a black American should know about Congo. And what is that, 54 countries in Africa? I don't know. Do you know how many countries are in Africa?
Maybe 54 to 52.
Okay,
54.
so you should know that better than me. You actually lived in Africa. Furthermore, you're Congolese. You should know that King Leopold was the most vicious colonial power that has been ever on the earth. And in addition to mass murder, we're talking about
Over Genghis Khan? He was worse than Genghis Khan? Well, I guess was he worse than Genghis Khan?
tens of millions of human beings. In addition to that, they used to cut off the limbs of your people, namely children, when they were not meeting quotas. And so they'll cut off the arms. And there's so many pictures of children with their arms missing. Their legs missing. Some people are saying I'm having mic issues. Let me go ahead and change to my computer mic. Can you guys confirm if there are mic issues? Give me a second.
I hear you clearly on StreamYard. So.
Okay. All right. So yeah, and I just for the folks who are new to this, I want to just pull up some pictures, and I'm gonna pull it up for you too, because I really think you need to see this. Because my job is to educate. Because if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. If I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. So here we go, real quick, if you don't mind. I just want you to see what your people have gone through. And Africans are oh so funny. I hear Africans every now and then, they're like, oh, your people were slaves. I'm like, yeah, it's a terrible thing. And your people were worse than slaves in many cases. You know, so these are your people right here. And they take pictures with you guys because, you know, A, they were soulless, and B, they viewed you guys as animals, like as though you guys don't experience pain. Does that look like an adult that he's holding who has his arm cut off? What about these? Do you see those? Are those children with no hands? You see those children with no hands? Imagine having no hands. You have two missing hands, and you're in a developing country under colonialism. Can you imagine how hard life is with two missing hands? Could you imagine? And you see, you really should imagine, because these are your people. You see, and there's an endless number. This ball's missing a leg too. As you can see under here.
And imagine going through that pain, and it ain't like they got anesthesia. Ain't like it's nothing to help you. They don't even care. That's insane, man.
Here it reads, in case you can't read it, it reads Leopold, that was your king, your colonial king, who was the colonial ruler in Congo. That's your people, where you're from. Used to cut the limbs of Congolese. Congolese, those are your people. Yes? That's what he used to do to you. And by the way, your perfect God, your perfect religion, your God apparently was off his job when those Europeans showed up and decided that they would work you guys to death. And if you did not work hard as though you wanted to die working, then they would take your child, which you don't even have any kids, but if you did have a daughter, and they would take her in front of you and using crude instruments, blades that weren't fully sharp and were not for surgery, with no anesthetic, no anesthesia, no nothing. And they would cut off that girl's arm or her leg or her hand. And they followed your Christian God. Those were Christians doing that. Your religion is just yet another form of poison. If you believe that a Christian nation will come there and take 20 million people, rip them from the souls of that earth, and spill their blood upon that earth in the name of God, maybe? Cut off the limbs of children and take photos? You know, there's some things I've done I'd never take a photo of. Take photos. But you know what's like somehow to me, it's almost worse than the fact that you don't know. what happened to your own freaking people, yet you were here representing Africa so strongly. You represent Africa so strongly. Tell me about Africa. And I just switched the mic back, confirmed that you guys can hear me. The thing that hurts me is that you didn't know your own history. You didn't know that which you actually come from. But I bet you could tell me about white Jesus, though. You know, you could tell me all the stories of the Bible about your white Jesus and your white God, but you can't tell me about your black great grandparents. You can't tell me about your black great great grandparents. And that's where most of your troubles lie, is that you've come to respect so much what the white man has told you to do. I'm a Christian. I'm a conservative Christian. We're monogamous. But you hate that which you are and that which you are meant to do from your blood. But here's the kicker. Your Christian religion is so good. But what evil is it to murder 20 million people and cut off the limbs of children? Leave a child with no hands in a place that has a retrograde economy and no basic services for disabled people. You'd have to be mentally ill to think Christianity makes sense. Those were Christians that did that. And here's the kicker. It wasn't just in the Congo that Christians did that. The white Christians also showed up to Nigeria. They showed up to South Africa. Yes, where you experienced apartheid maybe. And you still think that your Christianity that you got from the white colonizer makes sense? I mean, come on. Like, that doesn't hurt you that you know the story of Jesus, but you don't know the story of your ancestors? I yield the floor.
Okay. I mean, I will admit that's embarrassing that I didn't know that. I mean, I just take it for granted that it's happened everywhere. It happened in South Africa. I just take it.
I mean, you should know more than anybody, especially if you from the Congo. Like, I've heard of King Leopold, but I didn't know the severity of what he did as far as his crimes or, you know, the negative things that he did to people specifically in the Congo. But you supposed to know, you Congolese. I don't care that you grew up in South Africa. You should know. How you don't know and you Congolese?
For granted that that's how these white people treated my people all over
This goes to show, like, Black Americans, we be knowing about everything.
the continent. It happened here in America.
No, white Christians.
White Christians. I just take it for granted.
Wait.
You know?
No, it wasn't white people. White Christians.
Yeah, I don't even know if she knows that. Good point. Somebody said the child slavery to mining in the Congo. Right now, yeah, they out there mining that cobalt for these iPhones and all this stuff. She probably don't even know that. She probably don't even know how bad it is in the Congo right now. They have actual literally slavery right now, especially with these children for the cobalt for these iPhones. She probably don't even know that. But she's supposed to be an educated feminist, okay? Or they claim she's not an educated feminist, but she's a little bit of a feminist, but she's a homosexual, but she's a Republican and she's a conservative, which is something that doesn't even apply in African, the African political system, which would only more so apply in America. She all over the place, which is another reason why women should not be leading. Go cook.
Okay,
go ahead.
I will go ahead and affirm that it was white people who affirmed or who claimed to be Christians. I do not.
Oh, they're claiming.
I do not affirm their right to be called Christian or whatever. I don't call them Christians. You can call them Christians. I don't affirm that identity for them. So yeah, it is embarrassing. I'm not here representing Africans. I'm here as an African.
Nigga said I just spent $3,000 on 2 iPhone 17s. Hey, I got mine right here. I spent a little bread on mine too. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all look crazy.
I'm here, just as a Black woman that used to be a feminist.
How could you not represent Africans?
The other way here.
African.
I mean, it's not my job to represent Africans in Africa.
It's your heritage. You don't
Stacey
get a choice. You see.
I mean,
you think anyone looks at you and thinks, "Oh, she's representing the whites. She's representing Mexicans. She's representing Christians." No, I'm pretty sure people look at you and the first thing they think is like, "You're representing Africans."
Okay, fair enough. So, as an African,
I just want to say this too. That forehead is ridiculous, and that hairline and this. I mean, they be trying to be Black American women, like, and I wish more of my Black American women would wear their natural hair, but at least when Black American women do wear their unnatural hair, they at least make it look natural. They at least make it look good. This is ridiculous. Whatever this is, that is ridiculous. There is no track. You can literally see. That is ridiculous right there. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even realize the severity of it. That forehead and the top of that head is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So I see why you ain't got no man. Because who trying to come home to that? I'm not trying to come home to that. And you don't know how to make no chicken.
And here, representing Africans here, it is a shame that I didn't know specifically that happened in the Congo. I did take it for granted, however, that it happened all over the continent of Africa.
But you realize in the Congo, it was uniquely vicious. Uniquely.
No, I don't take it for granted that it was uniquely vicious about it. I think in every part of Africa, it was vicious. It was ugly. It was disgusting. Even here in America, what they did to you guys here is nothing unique about it. It's just equally as vicious.
No, it's not.
It's uniquely vicious.
What?
And the Congo is actually well known that it was uniquely vicious. Like, for example, there was a genocide in Namibia. It's unique in that it was the first genocide of the 20th century. There are unique features. That's why Congo is well known, because of the level of bloodshed. You know, like, we're looking at 15 million human beings.
How are you claiming that it wasn't that unique when you didn't even know about it 5 minutes ago? Are you like, are you okay? And then I'm sure, because you want to talk about what you guys went through here. If I was to ask you questions about American slavery, you wouldn't even know. You probably wouldn't even know. I mean, I just think that's wild for her to sit here and try to say like it's all the same. You didn't even know about your own country's genocide, but then it's not unique. It's like everybody else. Somebody said the IQ of a doorbell. Literally, Michelle, literally.
Bloodshed. You know, like, we're looking at 15 million human beings. That's quite a bit. Some countries don't even have 15 million people in them.
That's a good point.
You look at some of the states in Europe, they don't even have 15 million people. Like, Latvia doesn't have 15 million people. The Congo was uniquely vicious, and that's why, or I should say, King Leopold in the Congo was uniquely vicious. That's why you'd have to do your research on it. But it should bother you that you know everything about what the whites taught you, what they wanted you to know, but you don't know about who you are. You don't know who you are. I got a 3-sentence Bible. Number 1, be yourself. Number 2, be good to yourself. Number 3, be good to good people. Number 1, be yourself. You don't even know who you are.
I mean, you claim to say that I don't know who I am. I believe I know who I am.
But how could a Black American know more about your history than you? I asked you, how many countries in Africa?
52, 54. I mean, because they keep breaking.
How do you
up.
not know how many countries are in Africa, and you from Africa and you live in Africa? Or I guess she don't live in Africa no more. She live in Dallas, Texas now. How do you not know that?
I'm not going to keep up with the breaking up.
The only reason you said 54 is because I already said 54. But here's the kicker. How many states in America?
About 50.
About 50. She don't even know how many states is in America. Somebody said the IQ of a doorbell. I think you're giving her too much grace. She has the IQ of the strand of fake hair in her head. Just one strand of it. About 50?
Here's the kicker. How many states in America?
About 50.
Yeah, you know that. You know about the white country.
She don't know. She said about 50, which means she wasn't certain in her answer.
You know the white country you're in, but you don't know the Black continent you come from. That's concerning.
I mean, it's like me asking you how many countries are in North America. I mean, it's like me asking you how many countries are in North America. I bet you don't know.
In North
I'll probably
America?
lose my bet.
I mean, that's pretty simple, right? That's pretty simple.
Okay.
But here's the difference. You're not asking
No,
me
what's
about,
the answer first, though? How many
Depends on
countries
if
are in
you're.
North
It
America?
depends on if you're including the Caribbean. It's very simple. North America. You
Okay,
have
I'm not
Mexico. You have
just the
you have United
continent.
States, and you have Canada. It's three. It's very simple.
No, it's not. It's Mexico is in North America.
I
United
just
States
said
is in North
Mexico.
America.
I said United
Excuse me?
States. That's what I
Okay,
said. I
okay.
said Mexico, North America. I said Mexico, United States, and Canada.
Honduras is in North America,
No, I can.
in the continent of North
Central.
America.
Is that
So
Central? Is that Central America? I think people call that Central
that's what
America.
you
right?
guys call Central, but it's part of the body, the
Okay.
continent called
It's
North
irrelevant.
America.
It's irrelevant. So here's the thing.
I'm just trying to show that, the same way you don't know how many countries are in the body, the continent of called North America. I don't know how many countries, and I think that's fair.
No, that's not fair. You sound utterly ridiculous. Change my mic back. Thanks for the heads up on the mic. No, you sound utterly ridiculous. Here's the difference. You said how many countries are in North America. I told you the correct answer, and I know it's the correct answer. But here's the difference. I asked you about the place you're from. I'm from the United States, so it would make more sense to say how many states are in the United States, and then I'd tell you 50. But I asked you the continent where you're from. Remember, you came on talking about Africa. You said it 3 times, and I said Africa's not a monolith. And I asked you how many countries are in Africa, and you don't know. Then I asked you about the history of the place that you're actually from, which is Congo. And you don't know the history of Congo. You don't even know the major export. So in as much as that's the case, we're dealing with you not knowing you. If you ask me about North America, I'm not Canadian. I've never lived in Canada. I'm not Mexican. I've never lived in Mexico. I'm not Honduran. I've never lived in Honduras. These are all irrelevant things. And so you cannot compare asking me about something that has nothing to do with me to me asking you about something that has everything to do with you.
I don't think that I need to argue with you on that part. I think that would just piss you off and probably
Folks in the
get me
audience, can you
pushed
confirm
off.
that you can hear me? I changed the mic to my computer. Might confirm if you guys can still hear me. Keep going.
I said that I do not hate what I am. You're telling me that I do. I love who I am. I love Africa. I love Black people. I love my people. What else here? Christianity did not do that. Oh yeah, that was just my response to what you were saying. Christianity did not cause the white man to cut our limbs off. That's what I was trying to say. No, it does.
How do you know that?
Oh,
like they were Christians. Shouldn't they?
Because I'm Christian.
If it didn't cause them to cut your limbs off, why didn't it cause them to stop and not cut your limbs off?
Because they're not Christian. And that's why I don't affirm their Christianity.
But they taught you Christianity, so you don't confirm Christianity. They gave it to you. It's not yours. It's not yours to decide who is and isn't. They gave it to you. So what are you going to tell them they're not Christian?
The Bible decides what a Christian is, and nowhere in the Bible.
They are God. Have you seen Jesus? They are God. Have you seen Jesus? They are God.
Well, I'm sure Marquett knows this, but that the normal picture of Jesus is not actually Jesus. That's somebody called Caesar Borgia, which is that's not actually what Jesus looked like. Jesus was there's actually no true depiction of Jesus. You talk to a Hebrew Israelite, they'll tell you that he was a black man. No, if you actually go look at the actual scripture, that it doesn't codify what he actually looked like. But he definitely wasn't a white man. He definitely wasn't Caesar Bulgaria, or however you say his last name. That's definitely not what he was. And I'm sure Marquett knows this, but the thing is, a lot of Africans, specifically, I'm sure she probably looks at Jesus as a white man. To her, Jesus is God, because unfortunately, or I'm sorry, but to her, God and Jesus is a white man, because they fall for the propaganda. My mother's actually is in Africa right now. My mother, she's out there for a month. My mother is actually in South Africa right now, and she said that she doesn't like South Africa because she says she's never been around more bend over backwards people in her entire life, in the way that they just appease to white people. She's in South Africa right now, so I'm not surprised, and this is how they think.
You see what Jesus looks like?
Have you seen the Ethiopian Jesus? He's black.
Actually, how many times have you been to Ethiopia?
0.
I've been many times. So have I seen the Ethiopian Jesus? Yeah. In fact, if you ride in Ethiopian taxis, you know what Jesus you see in there?
A white one.
You see white Jesus. I'm telling you from experience. If you don't believe me, you can go on my Instagram and just scroll through my highlights and hit one of
No,
those
I'll
highlights.
take your word for it. I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with Jesus being white or looking white. I mean, I can
I know
draw
you don't
Jesus.
have a problem with it
That's
because
fine.
that's who's controlling your mind.
That's the point.
Is the
Jesus
white
isn't white
Jesus.
though. I don't believe he's white.
No, Jesus is white because the people who created Jesus out of their imagination are white. And then they depicted him a billion times and he's white. And that's what you learned.
So do you not believe that Jesus is a historical figure that existed, or a real historical figure?
What are the chances that, and let me just show you real quick. Let me show you your Jesus. This is the Jesus that comes from the people that you learn Jesus from. These white, little brown.
Yeah, that ain't Jesus. That's somebody named Caesar.
White, little bit of brown, white. That's who you learn Jesus from. So, like, you'd be a liar to suggest to me that the King Leopold, the Belgians, you know where Belgium is? It's in Europe. Or the British, who conquered Nigeria and made some of them Christians. You know where Britain is? Right off the coast of continental Europe. You'd be a liar to suggest that the very people who taught you Christianity, they're not Christians, but you're a Christian. I mean, stop it. Like, they created this religion that you use. And in fact, the concept of the Trinity, which involves your Jesus, who's a creation, they had a council. Like, there's so many things you could look up, Council of Nicaea. There's so many things you could look up, like different emperors and all these things. And you might start to understand the connection of like Roman paganism and your Christianity. And you might also understand the origins of Jesus. And you'll have to admit that all of you Africans who believe in Christianity, you got this directly from the Europeans. And it's extraordinarily ridiculous that you would suggest that the people who gave you Christianity don't know what Christianity is. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's a system to control the minds of the inferiors, which would be you. That's why you still believe in the religion as a guide for good, which came from a people who did only evil to you.
I did not claim that they don't know what Christianity is. I claim that they're not Christians based on.
But who are you to claim they're not Christians? They gave
just
you Christianity.
reading the Bible, using the authority of the Bible to dictate.
Do you realize that they use the authority of the Bible to colonize you? That was like, they said that the Bible gave them every right to colonize you. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would let you know that your Bible is unreliable. Same thing in the Americas. They use the Bible to justify enslaving the Black Africans. So do you realize that your Bible is a tool of evil?
No. They use the Bible, like you said, to colonize us or to make us feel inferior or to justify why they were treating us the same way.
I will say this about the Bible: there are books that were specifically taken out of the Bible. That look, this pause right here is perfect of like this whole entire conversation and how delusional she is. But I will say that there are certain books taken out of the Bible because people didn't want the certain information out there. So I do think that there are people who take things and they twist it and they use it to their own benefit and gain, and it takes away from the actual true meaning of what was actually stated. And I think that can happen. I think that did happen. I will say that. But there were, and to his point though, Europeans have used things that were not historically theirs to undermine people, unfortunately. I mean, like even like sometimes when you talk about, I can't talk about this. Y'all know who the small hat people are, right? Because I'm not going to say the J word, but the small hat people, right? We're on YouTube, so I have to speak in code, unfortunately. But the small hat people, when we talk about anti-Semitism, right? I've said this before, I'll say it again, but like anti-Semitism would only apply to melanated people, because a Semite is a Semitic, is a Semite. To say you're something that's a Semite, that is a Semitic group of people, which will be an ancient group of people. And we know that the actual religion that they those small head people actually operate in. It's not those people colonized people, unfortunately, and took something from them, and they use that religion to basically think that they have control over everything else, and something was promised to them thousands of years ago, when we know that's not actually the case. Because true anti-Semitism is those people, because they went on here and went on ahead and colonized the people who were the actual true Semites. So everybody who claims that anti-Semitism and these white people, you're at the end of the day, I look at them all the same. They're all white to me, but those people are not the true original J people. I'll just say J people. So I will say that things are done and have been done historically to manipulate people, and there could be truth, but unfortunately it gets manipulated and flipped by people, when it gets in the hands of certain bad people. So I will say that. But yeah, let's keep going.
I'll take your word. I mean, I take your word for it, and I know that's true. Okay, but the Bible does not teach that. It doesn't teach that black people are inferior. It doesn't teach that you should own black people and treat them a certain way. It doesn't teach that.
Okay, well, if the Bible's so good, how did the whites do all of this stuff with the Bible in their hand?
I mean,
that's facts, Leroy.
Did you know that there was a slave ship named Jesus? Did you know that there was a slave ship named Jesus?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can look it up if you just think I'm making up stuff.
I believe you 100%. I mean, I don't. That doesn't make it God. It doesn't make it Jesus. Just because you named it Jesus doesn't make it Jesus. Doesn't mean that God named it Jesus. Just because you
say it's not Jesus doesn't mean it's not Jesus. You see how that works?
No, I mean the Bible tells me what Jesus is, and it's not that.
The Bible told them to enslave you. So who's right?
I'm right. They're wrong. The Bible is right. Sorry, the Bible is right.
But they used the Bible. That's my point.
They reused it incorrectly is my point. And I don't want to be...
Do you think that you're smarter than the white men who were clever enough to be able to enslave an entire continent? You can't be smarter than them. So
no, I'm not.
How's that add up? You're definitely not smarter than them. So how is it that you understand the Bible better than they do? How's that work out?
Nobody.
Well, what I'm saying is what they were doing is not Christian. It was not sanctioned by the Bible. That's all I'm saying.
So why did they use the Bible at all if it wasn't Christian? What were they using the Bible for?
I mean, I guess to make them feel better about what they were doing to black people, because deep inside them, they knew what they were doing was wrong, and they needed some sort of external justification. And I would say that.
Oh, so you're saying that they used the Bible for evil then?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what if they did use the Bible for evil? What if you're totally right about that? And knowing that it's very useful for controlling people, what if that's why they gave the Bible to you dumb Africans, so that you guys would follow it and be docile? What if they were that smart?
I mean,
you dumb.
That could be the truth. I mean, I could see how that could be the case. Very sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it saddens me because you'll hear the white supremacists say that blacks are low IQ. And then when I hear blacks defending what the slave master gave to them, defending what the colonial master, the colonizer gave to them.
I'm not defending them. That's not fair.
What the colonial master gave to you.
That's not fair, Saint.
How could I help these people? How could I help these people?
That's not fair.
I can't.
I'm not defending them. I'm not defending them.
Their religion.
It's not their religion.
Yes,
it's not.
It's a white religion.
It's a Middle Eastern religion. It's Jewish.
Are you Middle Eastern?
No.
Then it's their religion, not yours. Where's your religion?
There's no such thing called the Middle East. I want people to understand that. There's no such thing called the Middle East. You can't be how can you be in the middle of the East? There's no such thing called the Middle East. That is a lie, because the Europeans didn't want that part where Africa is, where Egypt connects to the other side of I guess not the other side of the world, but a different landmass. They didn't want that to be considered anything that had to do with melanated people or Africa specifically. There's no such thing called the Middle East, because how can you be in the middle of the East? Notice how there's no middle south, there's no middle west, there's no middle north. It was specific there so they can make like it was a separate place from Africa. You can't be in the middle of the East because that doesn't make any sense. Let's keep going.
Do you follow anything from black people?
No.
That's That's weird, right? Do you ever look in the mirror and see a black person there?
I do.
Ah, but you ain't got enough love and self-respect to say, damn, what did what do my people believe in? What did my people do? What is our heritage? I mean, the idea that you follow the religion of a people who are so brute-like, so wicked and destructive. It's like you can follow their religion and their way of life, which is so violent, but you just throw away your own culture wholesale. It's like you say you're South African. I know your knowledge of South Africa is probably worse than Congo. And I only know that because I've been to South Africa many times, and I might encounter someone who's Zulu or Xhosa, or even someone who's Shona, who came from Zimbabwe, and I ask them about South Africa, and they just don't know anything. They don't know anything about the culture, past or present. And you know why that is? Because they know what the whites taught them and nothing beyond it. They have so much faith in the whites, none in themselves. They are white supremacists. And that's why I said I have a 3 Sins Bible. Be yourself, be good to yourself, be good to good people. Be yourself is number one. You can never be yourself without knowing who you are. Like, the South Africans. Can you name 5 tribes in South Africa since you're South African? Because that's what you said earlier. You're South
Hutu, Xhosa, Zulu.
Zulu.
Kona,
I already named 2 of the ones you named, but go ahead.
Swati,
Okay.
Venda,
Okay. Great.
Tonga.
Swati. Great. The Swati. Did they have a monarch? Did they have like a king or a queen?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where in South Africa where was that person based?
Well, I know what it looks like now. I mean, if you're asking me historically, I wouldn't know historically where they were, but I know where they are now.
Okay. Where's that?
Eastern South Africa. It's a country within South Africa called Swaziland.
Okay. Very good. Is in the mountains, Swaziland?
I've never been. I don't know what it looks like.
Okay. There's this little place in South Africa that actually gets snow. I was like, maybe that's it. Okay. And you mentioned Tonga?
Tsonga, yeah.
Okay.
Tsonga.
Yes. Did they have a king and queen?
They all had kings. I think they all still have kings.
They all still have kings.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Huh. Swaziland, they have like the famous king. He's polygynous, right?
Yeah.
Polygynous.
I think they all are.
Uh-huh. Interesting. So that's like South African culture then, huh?
I think it's African. I mean, I'll speak for Congo and South Africa. Congo is very same. They polygamous. I don't know how many of the tribes are, but I know for sure my mom's tribe. I know for sure my dad's tribe, and I know for sure, South African tribes.
Okay, very good. And so earlier you said you are South African, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I consider myself both, but I consider myself more South African because that's the culture I grew up in. Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. So if you're South African, why, and you just said all of their royalty is polygynous, and you said that their royalty still exists today, and you're South African, well, why not live in the South African way if you're South African?
The South African way, because I don't like it. It's backward. Why share your husband when you can have one?
Why be a homosexual? You're a homosexual. What are you talking about? It's backwards, but you're a homosexual. You bumping coochies, but that's backwards. That's not backwards. So it's okay for you to be with multiple different women and bump coochies and be a homosexual, but it's not okay for you to stick with one man, even though that man may have a couple other women, even though he may be doing right by y'all and taking care of y'all and doing everything else.
That's backward to me.
But you said you're South African.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you're a South African, but you're not South African. That's
No,
deep.
I
That's
can be
really
South
deep.
African and disagree with my way of life.
Hey, Marquett is hilarious when you do like this condescending, sarcastic way of like questioning. That's hilarious.
That's deep.
With my people's way.
What if I told you that
He doing it right now.
based on the fact that you say you're Congolese, you don't know much about Congo, you say you're South African, you don't live in the South African way, what if I told you you're really just a liberal white woman? Because I have an eerie feeling that if I like identify like 4 major cultural things from the liberal white woman and 4 major things from like South African culture, you'd probably be on board with all of the 4 cultural things on the liberal white woman. So
I
what
mean,
if you think and you delude yourself into thinking that you're actually a black African and it's just like a thin veneer, but in actual fact, you're a liberal white woman. And you just
I
don't
mean,
know.
I wouldn't have an issue with that. I mean, I would say yes, you're right. In that sense, why I wouldn't have an issue with that is that the liberal white woman's way of life is, I guess, superior than the African woman's, who's stuck in a polygamous relationship, marriage, way of life.
Huh?
Wow. Deep, 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 deep. So the liberal white woman
I might say, wait, did she say she was a lesbian? She's been sexually active with women. So that's all that we need to know. Yes. She didn't say I am a lesbian, but if a man said, yeah, I kissed a dude back in 10 years ago, but I'm not gay, you're going to sit here and look at him as a straight man? No. If I don't hold no difference of men and women. If you operate within the same gender, you're homosexual to me. But yeah, she didn't necessarily say she was a lesbian, but she says she's been sexually with women. So she's a homosexual. So they love I'm not gay. I just be bumping coochies and kissing women from time to time, but I'm not gay. She's a homosexual.
has a superior way of life to the African woman.
Yeah, and the liberal white woman is also what the liberal black woman here in America, the liberal black American woman. So it could also be black.
So you think homosexuality is okay?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
But you are one.
I get where you're coming from, but no, I don't. I don't think homosexuality is the way, and I just don't believe in sharing my husband, and I think that should be okay. That's I guess the superior, let me say, culture, because hey, like you said, they dominated us. If being in a polygamous marriage was so great, well, how did they dominate us and beat us, and it's not the superior way.
I can answer the question. Yeah, I can answer your question actually, and I'd be more than happy to answer it.
It was rhetorical. I know you would, but I don't want you to,
okay.
Please.
Okay, fair enough. Yes. That's curious. Wow. And with all of your religion, and you said you're gonna have your husband just to yourself, and you currently have no husband. You don't think like your liberal white woman culture is failing you. And the reason I say that is because if you actually look at the data, the trends, liberal white women, their marriage rates are trending down. Their happiness is trending down, as evidenced by if you look at the fact that women who are 40-year-old plus, liberal white women in America, a quarter of them are on psychotropic drugs. They're not mentally well. That would indicate that you're not happy. And their birth rates are trending downward. So the people that you admire are essentially dying out because of themselves, because of their own culture.
I mean, I can admire parts of their culture. I don't have to accept all of their culture. There's parts of their culture that I admire, and I would.
If you're a black woman who likes men who sag his pants consistently, then you like sexually fluid men. I agree with that. If you sag your pants, you're homosexual to me as a man.
Like my people to admire it as well, and want to, I guess, copy. I by no means am I saying copy every single thing. I mean, I'm Christian, right? So in the Christian point of view is one man for one woman, and stay married forever. And I come from a society, a small community that lives that way. And And my mom, for example, my parents been married for 36 years. My friends' families, it's a huge community that have lived that way, and it works for us.
And
We're
by what age are
happy.
you supposed to be
Women
married?
love backdoors. I
Well,
like Corey Holcomb.
Since it's
ideally,
so organized and a strong culture.
yeah,
by what
ideally
age, like,
before you're 25.
before you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're half a decade past. Like, is there a failing? Like, did anything fail? Did the religion fail? What's failed?
Well, so this is what I'll say. I was consuming a lot of American culture, in despite
We're a
my
Christian
dad's
country.
protest. Yeah, in South Africa. I grew up in South Africa, and I
Okay.
came here when I was 23. So yeah, I was consuming a lot of the American culture at home behind my parents' back, and that's where the failing is. I don't want to say my dad failed. I failed. I thought that way of life was better, and turns out it's not. But not everything about white culture is horrible. Not everything about black culture is horrible. You just take what is good and you reject what's bad.
I hear that. I don't see what the fruits have been for you in following white culture. I mean, peers that
Yeah,
you're-
definitely. I don't see the fruits either. Obviously, I'm 35. I'm not married. I
thought
don't
she was
have
30.
children. Yeah, I mean the fruits aren't there, but the fruits
I thought she was 30. She 35. I thought she was 30.
are there within my community.
she already had her average
All
pregnancy.
my friends, most of my friends, are married, happily married. They married young. They married men I didn't see them with, and I'll judge them for it or whatever.
and
But
they're in Congo right now, or South Africa, or the United States.
well, they're all over the world now. Some of them are in Congo. I mean, in South Africa.
Okay.
They're all over the world now.
Okay. Very interesting. I will say that I have to admit to you that, boy, the Africans just disappoint me so much. There's just no doubt, for all of the problems of the foundational Black Americans, one thing I have to concede and give them kudos for is that they're not as like dominated by white supremacy. Like, you Africans, good Lord, like y'all, I see why it had to have been really easy to colonize you guys, because you guys just consistently seem to be not like the brightest stars in the sky, and just love yourself some white folks, and love yourself some white Jesus, and love yourself some excuses for like excusing what the white Christians did to you. It's always like, oh, that wasn't Christianity. It's like
It's because we have a warrior spirit, and it's because we don't come from the same loin. It's because America is our homeland. We were here before 1619. So there's a big difference in lineage. The reason why there's such a difference in the way that Black Americans operate and compared to a lot of our Africans operate, and even some Caribbeans, is simply just because we don't come from the same lineage of people. We don't come from the same group of people. Like, it's a different thing going into our bloods, where we have a warrior spirit that these other people don't have, which is why they have the mentalities that they have. My mother literally just told me this. My mother is in South Africa right now, and she will literally tell you that the way, you know what? I should call her. I should call my mother on live right now and ask her. I've called my mother on live a couple of times before. And I should call her and ask her, can you go in a little bit more detail on what you mean? Let me see if she answers the phone. Let's see. I'm curious. Let's see if she answers. Hey, Ma, I have a quick question. I'm on live right now. I wanted you to kind of, if you have some time, can you go into a quick explanation? We remember how you told me that, I think you told me this like yesterday, that like you've never saw more bending over backwards about like how a lot of the people in the Black people in South Africa operate, like just their mentalities, the way they appease to white people. Can you go in a little bit more detail in that?
I noticed mostly in Cape Town. Yeah, it was very enlightening and eye-opening for me, because while I feel like we experienced a lot of racism and all of that in America, and we just adjust. This was different. It was kind of like the movie Get Out.
Wow. Wow.
Like kind of very robotically. And I feel like my experience, I can't speak for everybody else's, but my experience and where we had gone, like the vibes, I will never go to Cape Town again. They also didn't seem to really embrace Black Americans. And for me, like, I'm excited to come to the continent. Like, ooh, I get to connect back to what I could possibly be. But to me, they are either envious or angry with us, and they take on the oppressor's mentality a lot. That's what I've experienced. We're back in Johannesburg now. Johannesburg is not as bad, but Cape Town was like unbelievable. But then when you get to Zimbabwe, where they seemed much less developed, they seemed more friendly, more enlightened, but it's more rural and more community. And they seem to be, I mean, it's poverty all over, but they seem way more underdeveloped and impoverished. But their behaviors, they seem to have a level of joy and excitement and happier. And I don't know if it's because they were owning all of them, even though they all were colonized too. But Cape Town, it definitely gave me get out vibes. I was just ready. I felt like it was a white person with a cup, just spinning their spoon. It was very uncomfortable. And I never have to go back again in life.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm doing a debate reaction right now, and that was mentioned how a lot of South Africans sometimes act compared to Black Americans.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I'm
Definitely bow down. I don't care.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so okay. But yeah, so I was just speaking on that. Like, although you have some Black Americans that, you know, they kiss up too, at the same rate, it's not even, I would assume that it's not even comparable. And you there. So I'm like, my mother, I'm like, oh, I should probably call her and see what she say, you know, because that's crazy that you literally just said that, watching this reaction, and he just said that too. So
yeah, that's my experience.
Okay.
Is what? This is mine right here. Yeah, okay. Here, they don't do Florida.
What country you in right now?
They get on my goddamn nerves. I'm in South Africa again, but I'm in Joburg and not Cape. You know, Cape Town and Joburg are both South Africa. These are the most confused. They split the checks and still don't have the shit together. Lord to the Jesus.
All right,
Oh, I
Mom.
thought you did. She did. I think you should go on show.
Well, I'm gonna call you a little later, Mom. Or call me. Matter of fact, because the time difference. Call me a little later, Mom.
Okay, and I told you about the man in fucking here, Joburg. But Joburg is better to me. I actually tried to steal my damn jacket.
I ain't surprised. You are so beautiful. You are the beautiful woman. I'm going to make you my wife and give me a jacket, woman.
He didn't say none of that. I keep saying that shit sound like Nigeria. It don't sound nothing like these people. But yeah, he tried to do the Zulu dance and swoop up my jacket.
He tried to Zulu dance into your jacket.
Well, they did it was a Zulu tribe and they danced for me and all of that. And I said I didn't want them to do the shit. I sat my jacket down and do the little video in the picture, and he gonna put his stuff on top of mine. And when it was done, he grabbed his stuff and my jacket. So I walked up behind him, tapped him like, "Hey, yo, that's my jacket." And he's like, my sister. No, bitch, give me my jacket. I'm not your sister. Fuck out of here. Stealing my. And then what are you gonna do with a girl jacket? I was so annoyed. Like, what do you? He definitely tried to swoop up my jacket. He tried to like tuck it up under his old funky ass shit. I was so irritated.
All right, Mom. Well, we about to keep the live going. But you be safe.
Okay.
All right, I love you.
I love you too.
All right, bye. Hey, stop it. Nigga tried to Zulu tribe his way. He tried to stump his feet until to get my mama a jacket, man. That's crazy. But to the point, shout out to my mama, man. Shout out to my mama, man. Hey, but as I was saying, like, I think it goes right within his point that, you know, Marquett was saying, like, just the mentality difference that Black Americans and these other people have, and it's simply just because we don't come from the same lineage. We different. We two different types of people. So this is Chanel, nigga. That's crazy. Let's keep going though. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it up. Come on.
Jesus, and love yourself some excuses for like excusing what the white Christians did to you. It's always like,
Oh, and real quick. I saw a couple people saying we got to get my mama off the Pan African. I know. I love my mama to death, man. Don't get it twisted, but my mama still, she loved her some back in the motherland, and my mama, Kamala Harris, y'all know that. But I mean, that's just the average Black American man and woman, to be honest. So trust me, I've tried. And me and my mother have conversations, and she does disagree with me politically on a lot. You feel me? But that's still my mom at the end of the day. Still love my dog. That's my dog. But like, I be trying to get her off that democratic Pan-African stuff. But she's still, But hey, that's my mama though. It is what it is. But let's keep going.
that wasn't Christianity. It's like they literally are the ones that taught you Christianity. Like if anybody understands it, like it would have to be them. It's just so bizarre. You guys, the ability to make excuses for your enemies and then like want to like live among them. And it's just so bizarre. But I think the key is the history, right? The key is for them to make sure you don't know your history, because maybe if you would have grown up knowing your history and the evil that they did to you guys, maybe you would understand who they are. But
yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. One of the things, because you acquiesced and said, yeah, they're different types of viciousness that was done upon us, right? Unique viciousness. Well, one of the things I grew up knowing about South Africa is how they were testing HIV on us. That's a unique viciousness. Yeah. So
I mean, they did that in America too, in the Tuskegee experiment.
Whites. White Americans. Whites. So
what was the religion?
I know
of these
the
whites?
evils. Go ahead.
What was the religion of these whites?
They claim to be Christian.
Okay, they claim. Every time they claim. So no white person that's doing evil is actually Christian. Like
Black people do evil all the time. We're evil too. We were evil to each other too. I mean, I don't think it's something that's
I like
unique.
that. See, that's very much so like a African bootlicker thing. Is that when you guys you do anything to defend your whites, like you guys love the whites so much. So when you're Congolese, we talk about the fact that King Leopold committed the most heinous crimes against Congolese children, chopping off their limbs. And we talk about the biological weapons that have been used against black people, the mass enslavement over many years. We talk about just the genocide in Namibia. We talk about all of these things. And there is no comparison in terms of what the Africans have done to each other or to whites. There's no comparison, not even close. But for some reason, you just want to go see if you can find a way to blame the blacks, to make the blacks seem like they're as vicious as the whites. No one is as vicious as the whites, not the Asians, not the Arabs, not the Latinos. I could name to you a bunch of genocides, and the father of all of those genocides, mostly white people. This is what they do. So why do you feel so compelled to try to find an example of blacks being vicious to excuse the crimes of the whites? Is that what's going on?
No, my point was not to excuse their crimes. My point is to show that we are fallen human beings. Every human being, we're all horrible people. I mean, right now, Congolese people are raping each other with brooms in the east of Congo. Like they shoving brooms in women. That's black on black violence right there. We're ugly. My point is human beings are ugly.
Is that true though? Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Yes.
That's interesting. The only reason
Well, I think the big difference is there hasn't been an equal comparison of so-called, I guess, oppression. If you're trying to make a point to say, well, white people, it's not that bad that white people do this to black people because black people do this to themselves. Well, what about all the things that black people have done to white people? Explain that. Historically, since we're all bad and we're all evil, what have black people done to white people as far as genocide and stealing their culture and raping their women, or not stealing their culture, stealing their culture and sexually assaulting their women and unaliving children, and show the same level of genocidal behavior that the melanated people have done to the whites? Like, explain that. She's steadily giving her example, but her example is of, well, what did we do to each other? But that's completely different and it's irrelevant because it has nothing to do with the point that's being made. But again, she's a homosexual woman that sleeps with white men, so I'm not surprised.
I asked that is You have not been the most factual character I've met. That's number one.
That's
So we might
fine.
need to
You
check
can
on that.
research it.
Yeah, we might have to check on that. That's number one. And then number two, I could probably guess that this has something to do with the colonial lines that were drawn by the Belgians, right? It usually is when you have groups of people that were forced together by the Belgians, which is to say the white Christians. Might that have something to do with it? Tribal warfare? Would you agree or disagree? Okay, so you're telling me that the aftermath of what was done by the violent brute force construction of colonial nation states, that still goes back to the whites. Do you see how you did that?
No, I mean that's fair, okay, but you try to emphasize the fact that I'm a different kind of black. I'm a Congolese black and not a South African black. Yet those were the same lines drawn by white people. When I come and I bring those same lines, but between blacks and blacks,
I was talking about the origin of your blood.
Shout out to Adam Hearn, $5 donation. He says, I will admit the only black people in diaspora that I have vibed with are Afro-Brazilians, Cubans, and South Africans. But I know all three can be wild. I don't consider none of them people black, but I do appreciate your input. I mean, most people are cool, right? I don't think most people have a negative disposition in just turn of how they treat people and act, I guess. But, you know, I would love to go to Brazil, by the way. I would love to go to Brazil. Don't really have any desire to go to Cuba or South Africa, but I would love to go to Brazil. There's a lot of beautiful women out there, a lot of good food. From what I hear about Brazil, it's a great food, beautiful women, and they're doing a lot there as far as like the industrializing it to make it to where like it's becoming a tourist attraction more than it ever was. So. But yeah, I don't think any white man would date her, look at her. No, that's white men that would definitely love it to be with her, for sure. It definitely is, Eli, for sure. There's some white men that this is what they like, actually. I mean, there's some black men that would love to be with her, unfortunately. But usually the white men and black men that would be with this woman are not the ones that white women want or other black women want of the black men, so.
Talking about the origin of your blood.
yeah, we share the same blood. Every African share the same blood. We all Bantu.
No, every African does not share the same blood. That's not.
Yes, we do. We're all blacks.
Well, if
we all
she's an idiot. All Africans share the same blood. Tell that to the East Africans and the Somalis specifically. Are you go look at the Moroccan people and go tell them, and you don't even got to tell them nothing. Go look at the Moroccans and go look at them compared to Ugandans. Are you dumb?
the same
you're
genome.
all in the Negroid racial. You're all in the Negroid racial category. But if you all shared the same blood, you couldn't do a DNA test and identify different groups. And also, if you look at the phenotypes of certain peoples in Africa, like, for example, you have the South Sudanese who are tall, dark, and slender. And then not terribly far away, you have the Habesha who are very pale and have, quite fine features. And then you go to West Africa, you might find broader noses and, people with greater bone density and musculature. So, no, that's a lie. You're literally lying about the DNA. Were there Bantu migrations? Yes, and the Bantu is mostly a linguistic group, but there's just no doubt that there's different blood. In fact, Africa has the greatest genetic diversity, and you might guess that that's the case. If you look at the size of Africa, you could fit 2 Europes in Africa. You could fit in the United States and some in the continent of Africa. So, why would you think that there wouldn't be significant diversity when the continent is so massive?
I didn't say anything about diversity. I said genetically
I'm talking about genetic diversity.
Genetically, you're not the same people. An East African does not look like a West African. A West African does not look like a Central or a South African. The people of Namibia don't even look like this. The people of Namibia don't even look like the people of South Africa, even though they're neighboring countries. Eritreans and Ethiopians don't look like Somalis, even though they're neighboring countries, or at least in the neighboring area. So you just babbling and talking you couldn't be more of an idiot. Like, the Egyptians don't look like the Moroccans, even though it's kind of in the same area. Like, this lady is an idiot, bro.
Being in America, we share the same genetics. You black just as much as I'm black.
You're not black. You're not black. You're not even black.
We probably certainly have different genetics. In fact, with me being a Black American, my genetics would be in part from the Western Africa, and you're Congolese, so you're South and Central African in your genetic origin. And if we were to take a proper DNA test, it would reveal that we probably don't have any crossover in blood, which is to suggest that our blood crossover would be as insignificant as you might find a Russian and a British person.
I don't understand why you would look at a Russian and a British person and see two different people. They're the same people, just like I see all black people. All of us, we're the same people. And those are lines that are drawn in the sand.
That doesn't sound crazy to you?
No.
That doesn't sound crazy to you? You think that the Russians and the British are the same?
Yeah, they're whites. I mean, I don't understand how they're different.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, you can call it my low IQ if you want to.
Okay.
You know, but
Exactly what it is.
Europeans are the same people. They're all from the same
They're the same people.
They're not.
You know?
An Anglo white does not look like a somebody from, I don't know, Scandinavia, or I don't know, right now. Like somebody from Kazakhstan doesn't look like, I don't even, like, what are we talking? I don't even care to keep, I'm losing brain cells.
Interesting.
That's how I
are
see
Europeans,
them.
Are Europeans and blacks the same? Uh-oh. Go
Deep
ahead,
down.
African.
Deep
Go ahead,
down.
African. You want to be
Deep
the
down,
same
we're
as the
the
whites.
same.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, we come from the same, Adam and Eve, right? Mitochondrial.
Adam and Eve.
Yeah, the same mitochondrial Adam and Eve.
Really?
Scientifically speaking.
Adam and Eve, that's scientifically speaking?
Yeah, there's an Adam and Eve we all come from.
Scientifically speaking.
Yeah, and mitochondrial is what they call it. I don't know what they call the Adam part, but I think the Eve part is mitochondrial Eve. I want to say mitochondrial Adam as well.
You see, actually, like, for example, with the Europeans, we know that they have Neanderthal DNA. So the Neanderthal is a different type of hominid. So the Neanderthals, mind you, have died out. So in as much as that's the case, then we cannot say that we all come from that common ancestor, because they come from a Neanderthal, which doesn't even exist. So how could we have all come from the same mitochondrial ancestor?
I mean, that's what
Europeans
science is saying.
Well, I'm telling you what science says about Europeans having Neanderthal DNA.
No, yeah, they do.
Africans have no Neanderthal DNA.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's true.
if they have DNA that we don't have, that would indicate that there is a split. And in as much as there's a split, then how could we claim that we all come from the same mitochondrial ancestor?
So before that split, we come from the same common ancestor.
Curious.
And then blacks mated with that's what they say. We mated with the Neanderthal, and that's how they came to be. So deep down, right there in history, we're the same people.
Okay. And you think that's a biblical explanation?
No. Mitochondrial Adam and Eve is scientific. But yes, the Bible also claims that, and I affirm that for sure.
What?
Religion is crazy. I got to create a religion because this stuff is extraordinary. Like, religion allows me to provide you an infinite number of facts, and it means nothing. Like, that's amazing. I got to start a religion. I really do, because it's so powerful. It's so powerful. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. I got to start a religion. Like, because it's so powerful that a group of whites can cut off the limbs of your children, and you're like, it's okay. It's okay.
But I did not say that, though. I mean, that's not fair that you're drawing me in that picture. I did not say that.
It's all right.
It's horrible. It hurts my feelings. I don't like it. I don't.
No.
She would have been somebody that would have been a part of Nature Boys cult. You would have seen this whole talking about the 3. Like, she would have definitely been a part of Nature Boys cult over there, wherever he was doing that at. I think it was in Puerto Rico or something, or where's they at? Aruba or something, where we, like, she would have been a part of Nature Boys cult. She would have been an idiot. Like, just, I don't know, man.
No.
Yeah.
It hurts
So.
my feelings. It hurts my feelings. It does not hurt your feelings. You still follow these people's religion. Me, I say, if they followed any religion, like, if whatever their religion is that they followed, if they read the book, the Bible, and they were still able to do that, man, that book don't work. That book don't work. Hell nah. If you can cut off the limbs of a little girl and then take a picture with her, nigga, and you read the Bible, the Bible don't work. The Bible doesn't work. Because there's just listen, without a Bible, the inhumanity to cut off a child's limb Without a Bible, you just instinctively, you can feel the wrong. But if the Bible is of God and of goodness, and then you read the Bible and you still do it, like, man, that book don't work. Ain't no way. It doesn't hurt you. There are people like you. I observe you guys, and I look at you guys almost like you're NPCs, or you're just a drone, like a machine of some sort, because there's no actual humanness, like the Jesus that you talk about in the Bible. Like, you guys are not that, because like that Jesus could feel this deeply. And I just know that you fundamentally don't feel it deeply, because you're not reacting in a human way. You're more attached to the story. Like, the Bible may be completely 100% fake. In all likelihood, it's 100% fake. But the pictures I showed you are 100% real. There's no doubt in them. But the Bible's still more powerful to you. And that is just remarkable to me. Like, you're reading a book that talks about a guy named Jesus, and Julius Caesar is older than Jesus. You know, like you're praising Jesus. Like, we know plenty of historical figures that.
Make sure y'all say thank you to Los. Los out here sending memberships. Highway got one. Grand Man got one. Harvard Blue got one. Backup Trick got one. FBA Justice got one. Shout out to all y'all, and make sure y'all say thanks to Los Man for sending 5 memberships. Hope you know that you sent memberships. You didn't buy one. Just so you know, because sometimes I don't think people be knowing. But shout out to Los with the memberships. He just bought some memberships for some folks. So much love to y'all. Whoever got the memberships, make sure y'all say thank you to Los. Much love, Los.
Predated Jesus. It's like, well, if Jesus came after Julius Caesar, like, who was Julius Caesar praying to? Like, what was Julius Caesar's religion? He couldn't be a Christian. Christianity didn't even exist. It's like, the book is so silly. It's so silly, the concept that you have a book that came after Julius Caesar, and Julius Caesar's not even an old historic. Like, he's not, like, their pharaoh's much older than the Bible and Jesus. Like, what was their religion? Could they have converted to Christianity? Did they automatically?
Do you not believe that Julius Caesar is a historical figure?
No, I'm saying Julius Caesar definitely is a historical figure.
Okay.
And I'm telling you that he was alive before Jesus. So what salvation could he have gotten? Because he couldn't be saved by the blood of Christ. So does he just go to hell?
The blood of Jesus saves in retrospect as well.
So what, he was just waiting in purgatory for Jesus to come and then die?
Yes.
So everybody who died before Jesus was just hanging out in like a waiting room until Jesus came and died, so that they can then go to heaven?
Yeah. Jesus ministered in hell. In those 3 days that he was buried, he was in hell ministering to them. Those who accepted him, they were saved.
The good news through all of this, the good news is that you're not thick. So we're not really taking the L on having to pass on you, because we ain't wasting no thickness out here. And that we need to thank God for. We need to thank God for that. I like you, though. Tell me how to pronounce your name again.
Kabu. My name's actually Kabwanga.
Kabwanga.
Yeah.
Kabwanga.
And I cut it short to Kabu. Yeah.
For the whites. I feel you. Well, Kabwanga.
Not for the whites. Not for the whites.
It's
I
for the
like
whites.
it.
It's okay.
I don't like Kabwanga.
Kabwanga. I like
it. I also did that to infuriate my dad. My dad's name is Kabu. So.
Kabwanga. It's my pleasure to meet you. I appreciate you having been here and been like a great sport, very pleasant woman. And, it's really my honor to have this conversation. I thank you. I think you're a lovely woman. I really want you to get all the things that you want in life.
All right, that's the end of it. No, she didn't show her body.
Good husband, monogamous marriage, and as many children. And I'll be rooting for you. And if I can do anything to help you, do let me know.
Thank you so much, Saint. And thank you for giving me all this time. This is a lot of time. I really appreciate it. Next time I'll come with facts.
It'll be my pleasure.
Good night.
All right. Well, y'all just saw one of the wildest. That lady is completely insane. That lady was completely insane, y'all. But hey man, that's the world we live in.